Welcome to the Cartwright Elementary School District Governing Board meeting of Wednesday, August 8th, 2019. I call the meeting to order and let the record reflect that it is 5:02 p.m. Please also let the record reflect that Board Member Ms. Rosa Cantu is present. Board Member Pedro Lopez is also present. Vice President Denise Garcia is present, and myself, Marisa Hernandez, I am also present. All right, and so this evening we have a very special guest. Very, very special. So we have Mr. Alex Lopez. Say hello. Hello. Alex is our student representative on the dais this evening, and I'm super excited. He is our first male student on the dais. Standard. All right, so Alex is a 7th grader at Glenelg Downs. Woo, Glenelg Downs. All right. He has been a proud GLD Diamondback since kindergarten. Alex has also been a very active member of the GLD community. He has been a part of both the Lion King musical as Simba and Magical Land of Oz as Locke the Munchkin. I love that. I loved it. Alex has also been a member of the chorus, band, student council, and mathematic engineering science achievement, MESA. If you ask any staff member or student, they will all tell you that Alex always has a smile on his face and is willing to help any way he can. He is accepting of others and is also a very giving young man who is eager to chase his dreams and achieve his goals. So if you all don't mind, let's give him another round of applause. All right, and then we have some other guests this evening, also from Glenelg Downs. Okay, so we have, sorry everybody. So we have our Glenelg Downs students. So when you're ready, Little Miss in command, come on up. Bring your group, and they are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. But first, their introductions.
Hi, I'm Nicole Balaga, and we're from GLD Glenelg Downs. Hi, I'm Lena Marquez. Hi, I'm Jessica Reyes. Hi, I'm Lorena Luna.
Hi, I'm Emily Perez.
Awesome, thank you. And if you will all rise and join us as Glenelg Downs Student Council leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. All right, whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you guys did an amazing job. Let's give them a round of applause. And thank you, Ms. Vivian Nash, for having your students here this evening, and also our student on the dais. All right, so we move on. Oops. One moment. Sorry, everyone. I'd be remiss without saying thank you to the parents. So if any parents are here of the students that joined us for the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, if you could stand. We definitely could not do it without your support, and we appreciate you and all of the success that your students have with you standing there beside them. Thank you. All right, so moving on to item 3, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
I will second the motion. So we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented at the Thursday, August 8, 2019, Cartwright Elementary School District Governing Board meeting. Second Motion by Mr. Pedro Lopez, second by myself, Marissa Hernandez. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. If no discussion.
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. So moving on to further introductions for our parent representative, our CEA representative, and our principal representative for the evening. So this evening, we have the pleasure of being graced with Mr. Chris Garawal as our parent representative from Desert Sands Middle School. Chris Garawal and his wife Marlena are dedicated parents of the Cartwright School District. They have 2 children currently in the Cartwright School District, an 8th grader at Desert Sands and a 6th grader at Sunset. In the 18-19 school year, their son promoted from Desert Sands Middle School and will be attending high school. All children have been in the Cartwright School District since kindergarten. So, Mr. Garawal, we would like to say thank you for being here this evening, and we appreciate you as well for being such a great, I can't talk today, for being such a great support to your students, and for also being a member of Cartwright for so many years, just being part of our community. So we say thank you. We appreciate you being here. We also have Mr. Dylan Wagella this evening. He is our Cartwright Education Association representative, and he is also the president. Mr. Wagella has been with the Cartwright School District for 3 years. Before coming to Cartwright School District, Mr. Wagella taught English to K-6 students in South Korea. During his time in South Korea, he volunteered for the nonprofit Teach North Korean Refugees. Teach North Korean Refugees is a nonprofit where native English speakers tutor North Korean refugees in English. Mr. Wagella currently teaches 7th grade social studies at Mark T. Atkinson Middle School and serves as the team leader on his campus. Mr. Wagella is currently serving as the Cartwright Education Association president. Dylan, thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate your time. And last but certainly not least is Dr. Diana Ramito, our principal representative from Atkinson Middle School. Dr. Ramito is in her 6th year as the principal of Mark T. Atkinson Middle School and her 16th year in education. Prior to leaving Atkinson, Dr. Ramito was an assistant principal at Starlight Park, a reading teacher at Estrella Middle School, and a library media specialist with the Indianapolis Public Schools. Dr. Ramito earned her degrees from Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. In her spare time, she enjoys watching nearly any type of sporting event and spending time with her husband and dog. Dr. Ramito's passion for education is focused on bringing innovations and opportunities to her students. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Ramito. All right, so moving on to item number 5. Cartwright School District number 83, Award of Excellence to Jeff Armour and Jamie Gonzalez of Railroad Revitalization Corporation. Ms. Sanchez?
Good evening, Madam President. Good evening, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, governing board members, and executive team, as well as, hello, Alex. Welcome. Our community partners are so vital to our organization. They give time, they give money, and they really want our children to succeed. Because when that happens, our entire community is uplifted. Tonight's honorees hail from MRC, the Maryville Revitalization Corporation, Jeff Armour, and as you mentioned, Jamie Gonzalez, who handles community engagement. These 2 individuals brought a lot of exposure and positivity to our schools by helping us with various beautification projects at our schools and bringing the very popular Hero You project to our students. That's just to name a few projects. This past weekend, their back to school backpack giveaway event at Heatherbrae School was a huge success. They brought in 1,500 families, and there was a lot of fun to be had at that event. Our collaboration with MRC is strong, and it will continue. Again, without these community partners, we would not be as successful as we currently are. So, Jeff Armour, Jamie Gonzalez, please come forward to accept Cartwright Award of Excellence. And if we could have Alex come down here and present them the certificate, as well as our board members. Please come down.
Congratulations and thank you so much for your partnership. It's been great. All right, so moving on to item D. We are moving on to our action items, and item 1 is discussion and information and possible action regarding requests to reschedule the governing board first business meeting of June 25th, 2020. Dr. Aguilar-Lawler?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the governing board. The 37th NALEO Annual Conference is scheduled to be held in Las Vegas, Nevada, June 23rd through the 25th, 2020. In order to plan accordingly and allow for the board members who wish to attend, the administration is requesting the governing board meeting that is scheduled for Thursday, June 25th, 2020 at 5 p.m. to be moved to Wednesday, July 1st, 2020 at 5 p.m. This is the first business meeting for the 2020-2021, I can't believe I'm saying that, 2020-2021 school year. My recommendations that we move.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler. Any discussion? Okay, so we will move on to a vote with no discussion. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye that we move the June 25th, 2020 first business meeting to July 1st, 2020 for the 2020-2021 Cartwright Elementary School District Governing Board school year. All those in favor, please. Can I make a motion? My apologies. I first make the motion. Do I have a second? Thank you. Motion by myself, Ms. Hernandez. Sorry, I got real excited because this is kind of our first meeting of the school year. So, second by VP Denise Garcia. All those in favor, now please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to item 2, discussion, information, and action regarding the proposed 2020 Arizona School Boards Association political agenda and delegate assembly process. Dr. Aguilar-Lawler.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the governing board. Attached is the Arizona School Board Association Mission, Core Beliefs proposed 2020 delegate political agenda, along with the 2020 political agenda supporting documentation as recommended by the Legislative Committee to be considered by the Delegate Assembly at the September 7, 2019 Delegate Assembly. The Delegate Assembly will be held at the J.W. Marriott Camelback Inn, 5402 East Lincoln Drive, Scottsdale, Arizona. Following the governing board's discussion, the governing board should instruct Ms. Denise Garcia, our delegate, and Ms. Melissa Hernandez, our alternate delegate, as to the board's direction in voting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler. Is there any discussion on our recommended delegate assembly submissions? Okay, so I make a motion that we move forward with our proposed 2020 ASBA political agenda and delegate assembly process. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. So motion by myself, Ms. Hernandez, and a second by Pedro Lopez. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. We will move forward. All right, so moving on to item 3, discussion, information, and possible action regarding the Cartwright Education Association President release time for the 2019-2020 school year. Dr. Aguilar-Lawler?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the governing board. The Cartwright Education Association is requesting presidential release time for the 2019-20 school year. The request was sent to our district attorney for review. If the governing board approves the Cartwright Education Association presidential release time request, the district will move forward with signing the meet and confer proposal. I would like to introduce Mr. Wigella, our CA president, who will present tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, Governing Board, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, and Executive Team.
we proposed this presidential release time in the 2019 meet and confer process. And I just wanted to come up here and explain it in a little more detail and then answer any questions that you have. So I'll first start by talking about the history, the long history that we have with the district, with the Cartwright Education Association and the Cartwright School District. So the Cartwright Education Association has been in a partnership with the district since 1964. And I do want to share a little bit more information with you. So I have the privilege of being CDA president currently, and this summer I had the privilege of kind of getting to go into our storage unit and see some of these really fascinating old documents that we have and kind of see and live this history. And it's a really, really fascinating thing. So if you look back into like the 1980s, and I forgot to bring it, but there's old handbooks compared to the new ones, and it's just really powerful to see how the relationship has grown over the years. And the big hang-up in meet and confer was that this needed to pass legal review, and the understanding is that it has passed legal review. So just to kind of explain a little bit more, basically the Cartwright Education Association will be paying the district, and the amount shown on the screen here, for about 0.2 FTE of a contract to release the president for 1 hour a day, where and I think I'm going to get into the different responsibilities and duties and things that will be happening at that time. But as you can see, the calculation is on the screen here and how much money the association will be paying the district for this time. So in terms of the rationale, I think there's a lot of really interesting things that this proposal allows for. The main one is to continue growing this relationship that has grown over time in a lot of different capacities. Last year, there were countless times that me and Dr. Aguilar got to meet. Luckily, last year I had 8-hour prep, which allowed me to meet during the day as well. So a couple of other things that could be used with this time is serving on different committees. I currently serve on the State Schools Committee, meeting with district personnel, HR, with educational services and so on, and building different relationships with different administrators at different campuses and gathering an understanding with them. Another thing that I think is really important about this is that it allows the Cartwright Education Association to better serve its members. It allows me to go and meet with classified staff who may be off the clock at that time. It allows for me to go to campuses and meet with principals and site leaders and so forth when time is permitting. And I think one of the most important things is thinking about the future. Because I will not be Cartwright Education Association president forever. We have term limits in our, do I know if I could do this forever? Just to tell you a little bit about my position. It is a voluntary position. No one in our leadership is paid for their positions. So I work my normal teaching job, which is about 60 hours a week is what I like to say. And then I work about 15 to 20 hours a week on association work after that. I am fortunate that I do not have any children at this time. And this proposal I think is really important because it allows people who do have families to serve in union leadership. And that is something that I really, really would like to see going forward. And I know that talking to other association presidents in our district from the past and in other districts, this is something that would make serving a lot easier and a lot more effective. So I did talk a little bit about the use of the time. So I won't go over that, but I'll answer any questions when we get to the end here. And I'm ready for any questions.
Thank you, Dylan. Ms. Cantu?
Yes, Madam President, Dr. Lawler, Executive Team, members of the board, Mr. Rebel.
Oh, Bugella.
Okay. One question. Seems like everything is under control about what is going to happen to you when you leave your campus to go attend business in another campuses. And I'm sure that it's being set up with your principal, and there's not going to be any disruption for those students during your time that you're supposed to be in the classroom. Can you tell me what's going to happen when you go and talk to another teacher in another campus and she's supposed to be, or he's supposed to be in the classroom?
I think that's a great question. So the answer is I would not be meeting with teachers if they are on their contract time. So our handbook outlines times when we're allowed to communicate with staff, and that would only be allowed during their prep time or after contract hours. So I would not, if they were with a class, I would not be meeting with them at that time. It's a great question, thank you.
So from what I understand here, you will go and meet only with leadership staff? No teachers, no interruption to the rest of the...
Yes, no interruption to the normal school day.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, executive team, fellow board members. And maybe it might have, I just missed it in the conversation, but just what brought my attention is just the time off. But my question would be, at what point of the day, is there a designated hour that it would be, what time is that?
Yeah, so right now we have it set up at the end of the day. We had conversations with the district staff that that's the most convenient time for us to collaborate. And I think that it also is, that way meetings go longer. That would be going into, outside of the contract day, which is where a lot of our meetings take place in that case.
Is that like from 3:30 to 4:30 or 2:30 to 3:30? What time is the end of the day for your?
I think that our 8th hour is, do you know the exact time? 2:24 to 3:15, yes.
And that's typically, after school would be considered after?
After 3:15 is when students get out, the contract time is at 3:25.
And this would just simply allow you, it is 1 hour a day.
1 hour a day.
And I do see the .2, and it's .2 sounds like it's just a drop, but it is an hour a day.
Yes.
I know we've had talks previously regarding the lack of substitutes. Do you have a classroom currently? Is your current schedule personally able to be covered, or is it you know what I mean? Are you occupied during like teaching time during that hour?
If I can, I would like to delegate this. My principal here, Dr. Ramito, is here, and I think that she can best answer that question for you.
Mrs. Hernandez, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, and Governing Board and Executive Team. We are privileged at Atkinson to have the staff and the structure to make this work for this year. Mr. Wigel is currently assigned to a classroom of students during that 8th hour, but I have personnel who's certified in the same content area, who I can swap out that hour, for lack of a better term. So we can cover it this year.
And I'm sorry, what class is that? What are you teaching?
I teach at 7th grade social studies.
Social studies. And so we have somebody that's qualified to be able to teach that with no,
Mr. Wigel is an excellent teacher, I would like to say.
But if you were my favorite teacher, you wouldn't be there for that hour. So I'm trying to think of the way, what impact would it have in the classroom, around the classroom. Obviously, I'm trying to relate to see if that would be an issue. Just concerned about the replacement and finding those qualified teachers as we're shorthanded enough as it is all over to be allowed that privilege, but.
Yeah, and I think it is a great question. So we're fortunate this year to have someone who has over 20 years of experience in the content that would step into the position. And I think that it is a conversation, and I think that's the great thing about the proposal and about the relationship that we have is that in future years, if there's a different situation, the board, the district, and the association can come together and evaluate and see what's the best way to move forward together.
And just to follow up, Madam President, fellow board members and executive team, and Dr. Ramito, and I would hope and I would request that at any point that if it does become a conflict that we would be apprised of that, only because my experience in working with this middle school in the past is not, I've always shared it and been very public about it, but we had a plan or a process in place by which we were going to be providing, I'm going to call it tutoring at this point. I'm not going to go back and belabor the discussion about the intervention and levels of intervention and the type of intervention the kids should have been receiving at some point. But we were told here that it was taking place, and although I acknowledge that there were some struggles physically, we weren't getting that feedback back to the district level. So my concern is, that's just my concern, and I'll leave it at that. We've had programs in place that have not come to fruition or have not been taking place. And I would hope that that's, that we would be apprised, that we kept apprised. We're still in the same administration, so that something would change to that and we can have an honest dialogue, because I am lacking some of that. I have that void or space in terms of what's shared with me and what's really happening, even though we want to be proactive, but the only way we can address it is if, we're addressing it now, and I think we've addressed those concerns about that intervention. We had teachers at times that were hired and were qualified. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been hired, but we're not able to provide the level of intervention or the intervention period. So that's my concern moving forward.
So, if I may, the only thing I'll say is that, the Cartwright Education Association, we truly believe in putting students first, and we share that same sentiment with you. And I have complete faith in my administration and my staff at my school to do this. And if I was concerned, I wouldn't be here, because I truly do believe that what's best for students is at the forefront of everything that we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. So Dylan, so the last time, so Dylan, there will be a form of tracking for the hours, right? That you guys are going to track what's occurring during the time frame that you're using your hour. And I know that it's CEA that's reimbursing the district for the cost of the time that you're away, but as a tracking system just to see how effective it is, and especially for CEA to make sure that their dollars are going as far as possible, that it works best for both parties. Definitely, I think it's a great thing. But also that we revisit again at the end of the year so that we can see, what's working. And of course, I would expect that we would be talking about it throughout the year to kind of tweak it and see if there's other ways to, make it a little better and kind of have those open dialogue discussions. But of course, we want to look at it again at the end of the school year to see if we continue. I think that was a recommendation that Ms. Cantu had at the last meeting, or one of her concerns was the oversight. And of course, just to have the statistics to see what's working and what doesn't, and so that it works out best for CEA as well.
So I will say nothing in the language just discuss tracking. My concern with that would be mainly with the time consumption that would be in the tracking, and I actually believe that our dues dollars would not be as effectively used spending time tracking to provide that. I do believe that it'll be pretty clear between the discussions with the district and us, and I guess, for example, at the Cartwright conference, we passed out surveys to all employees in the district, and we did, we had about 5 to 10%, because it was a flyer, and you had to fill it out. And in response to our surveys and the service that we've been providing the district, we had overwhelmingly positive results. So I think that we do our part right now to make sure that we are serving our members to the best of our interests. If it's a must from the board to track something, I definitely am willing to do so, but I am concerned with the time consumption that would take place with that.
Madam President, members of the governing board, many of our teachers are paid out of federal programs, and they have to do some kind of tracking. I think what we're asking for is not like a huge summary or dissertation, but 2 to 3 teacher concern, met with superintendent, met with principal, very quick, not, and I think it'd be good for your members too, so that you could share with them happen, you're like, wow, I met, 15 times with Dr. Law, that kind of thing. So I think it's that kind of tracking that we're looking for, not details of like.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's definitely something that we can provide for the board and for the public. I think that's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Dylan, I guess I could be more clear. We don't need a direct summary, just, it would work best for both parties. Because then you could, like Dr. Lawler said, you could see what you were doing and what, you're working on the most, like what types of concerns. Sorry, I know your brain was off into the places like mine is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a great thing. We can revisit it at the end of the school year and see how it went. And it's good to hear that you did get an overwhelming response that you guys are doing great. I think you guys do a great job, and it's great when we can work together.
And the beautiful thing about this is that I truly believe this is going to help us best serve our members and our staff, because we do serve members and non-members in our district, and we're happy to do so. And that all starts with listening to people from the bottom and not us at the top. So that's really what this is about, is it's hearing the voice of our employees, and it's being able to provide you and really truly be that representative.
Ms. Hernandez?
Thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, executive team. I've been a volunteer all my life, and I was just sharing in the sidebar conversation that in state government, oh God, they taught me well. Reports, everything's trackable data. And thank you for bringing that up, because I really, I was more concerned. I really wanted to be qualitative, but I also know it's necessary. I've always worked in the nonprofit sector, and you need that time. And I would greatly appreciate that feedback, as with the issues that I think the school will continue to address as we move forward. But the bullet point, not necessarily what that's also something that you could use at the end of the year. You'd be surprised what it's going to look like in terms of a summary, and perhaps maybe even looking for dollars somewhere to help for something. But I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
It'd be great for your membership to see what you're working on.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
that'd be awesome.
And we do provide frequent reports to our membership, so it's not something that's uncommon.
And since we've heard from Dr. Romito, thank you for your input, Dr. Romito. And Dylan, you're obviously telling us about the presentation. I'd like to hear from our parent representative what his perception would be on the CEA release time.
Just more tracking, that would probably be the best thing. So then at the end of the year, we could see where everything's at.
Thank you, Mr. Garwal. I think that's great. I mean, where I work, Dylan, there's the unions have to track, and that's only legally. They now have to track very specifically. I'm thinking more like you could provide the statistics to your membership on your social media pages, like we did. We were able to accomplish this many things this year.
Yeah, and I think I think we share the same idea. I think where my concern is more coming from is that because the Cartwright Education Association is paying for the time of membership dues, that maybe those reports would go to membership. But being that it is a district collaboration, I completely agree. We can come up with something that is simple and short and present it to everybody. Because I know that this is going to be an effective use of our time, and I think we've already seen that with some of the new things that we've had in this administration, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dylan.
Madam President.
Ms. Cantu.
Mr.
Wigella, yeah.
I'm very concerned about our students, and of course you say you serve on this as a volunteer, as we also do. We also do that as a volunteer, and I just hope that in your tracking and your reports, you will be, just hope that you will be less secretive on your membership and your minutes, so the board can have access to that, and also the community. They also deserve to have that transparency. I think that Mrs. Denise Garcia had always talked about the importance of transparency, so I will suggest that you will provide the board with that, with those reports and those numbers. because the moment that we represent community, we represent your teachers, but we represent community, we represent students, and they deserve transparency from what's happening in this organization. And I also have just one more question for Dr. Lawler. As you started your leadership, you had the opportunity to visit all the campuses and to hear from everybody, employees, classified teachers, administrators, you name it, from everybody. And I just would like a simple question, just echoing on Mrs. Hernandez's comments. What was the concern to the teachers? Because when we meet at Cartwright, we don't have teachers in second place. We have teachers at front. We always concerned of how do we keep our teachers, how do we make it better for them, how can we distribute those monies equally to them and to everybody, because as the board, that's our job, to make sure that it's given to those that deserve it. So can you elaborate a little bit, Dr. Lawler? What was the percentage of concerns from the teachers when you visit the campuses?
This has come to members of the governing board, President Hernandez. There were several concerns, but there were a lot. I mean, salary was a big one. Benefits, child care for the kids, health care. And there were a lot of issues. And because of that, one of the things that I'm most excited about is this upcoming year, collaborating with the association, and I've talked to President Ogillo about this, is a meeting with the leadership from the Cartwright Association once a month at least. I've already secured some funding for Mr. OJ to be able to, have them come on their own time so that we can problem solve. So by the time we get to the meet and confer time, they can really talk about salary negotiations and those kinds of things. Because there isn't a lot of time to go to every campus, but if I can meet with the leadership on every campus, with Mr. Regala and the CEA reps on the campuses, it would, I believe, make it much easier for us to get those concerns for the teachers, and I'm hoping that we can get there. I know that we're still working on that, but I certainly want to do that. I'm hoping with that extra time, we'll be able to set those agendas for those meetings. And then for our classified staff members, I've already worked with Linda and Christine, and we have a tentative calendar that we're sending out to Mr. Our CFO, Mr. Regala, to have a consistent group of our classified staff from every single department that I can hear their concerns as well, and they can move out to the staff members so that we can ensure that we're working for them as well. And so it's a work in progress. I'm looking forward to that continued strengthening so that together, if we're all working together and it's cohesive, then I believe we can make the changes that we need to. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Dr. Lauder. I only have one more question, and that's for Mr. OJ. Sorry, I put you on the spot, Mr. OJ. What is in the level of paying districts in our state? What number is Cartwright?
Level of what?
Paying our district, paying our teachers.
Oh. We have consist for the past 8 years. We have consistently been in the top 10. A few years ago, we were at the very top, and about 3 years ago, we were in the top 5. So consistently over the past 10 years, we have been way up there.
Thank you, Mr. OJ. I was just wondering, because I know you keep track of those numbers, and I just want to make sure that, like Mrs. Fernandez mentioned, that sometimes things are happening out there that we're not aware. We just go by what we've been informed, and it's important that we all are on the same page, so we can agree on whatever most are out there, and not do it out of ignorance. Thank you, Mr. Well. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Denise Garcia has a question.
Thank you, Dr. Lawler, executive team, fellow board members, Alex. Dylan, I need to redirect back to the substitute who will be covering your last hour. You did say that, or Dr. O'Neill, there is a teacher with 20 years experience plus. Will this be the same teacher consistently covering your hour, your last hour?
I believe yes. Yes.
Yes, I appreciate that. The reason being is that our kids, our students are used to structure and routine. So to maintain that level of integrity is extremely important. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Thank you for all of the comments and questions. Okay, so I move that we approve the Cartwright Education Association president release time for the 2019-2020 school year, and we will revisit at the end of the school year to discuss how it went for the 2019-2020. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so motion made by myself, Marissa Hernandez, and second by Vice President Denise Garcia. All those in, any further discussion? Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I voted as well, and the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations. Yay for the CEO. Good job. Okay, so moving on to item 4, discussion, information, and possible action regarding the SRP Saltworker Power interest in purchasing a portion of APN 144-81-171/7070 West Heatherby Drive, Phoenix, Arizona 85033 from the Cartwright School District number 83. The governing board may vote to convene an executive session, which will not be open to the public pursuant to ARS 38-431.03 A7 for discussions or consultations with designated representatives of the public body in order to consider its position and instruct its representative regarding negotiations for the purchase, sale, or lease of real property. Any discussion? Do we have a presentation? Mr. OJ?
Yes, Madam President, board members, Superintendent Lawler. Last month, in June, we came to the board and presented a proposal whereby we sell a portion of our land to SRP. The board has so many questions and asked for SRP representatives to be here and answer some further questions. Just as a way of reintroducing, this topic, SRP approached us over a year ago in December of 2017 to purchase about a third of an acre of land on the northwest corner of Heatherby. That land is not usable by the school district. SRP intends to build a well on that land that will serve the greater community. Access to this well will be from the canal, and SRP has agreed to pay for the appraisal cost. I'd like to reiterate, Madam President, that this is an arm's length transaction. In other words, it's not a related party transaction, and they will be paying a fair market value. With us tonight are Bob Payne, who is the manager of SRP Groundwater Resources, Rich Haas, who is the SRP Construction Consultant, Yasin, who is the senior land agent. They are here to further shed some light, into this, what we're trying to do, and answer any questions that the board might have. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Ojay. Good evening, Madam President, Governing Board. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to come in and talk to you about a request that we have. SRP has been in the valley for well over 100 years, and many people feel that SRP, with our water supply, is actually one of the driving forces as to why Phoenix actually became what it is today. We were formed in 1903 by the Bureau of Reclamation. We put dams on the Salt and Purdy rivers so that we could control the flow of the river and allow agriculture to prosper. In the early 1900s, we started drilling wells, and in the 1930s, we started generating power. Many people often think of SRP as a power company. We have over 1 million power customers, but we really started off as a water company. We have 270 wells across the metropolitan Phoenix area. Those wells help provide water when our surface water supplies are low. In the area that we're looking to acquire property, we have an existing well. It is getting up to the end of its useful life. It's about 70 years old right now, and we like to get about 75 years out of a well. The property that we do own is not large enough to put a new well on, and the state allows us certain criteria when it comes to siting wells. If we have an existing well, we are allowed to replace that well within 660 feet and maintain our existing water right. And so we did a search and discovered that the school board has a parcel of property that we may be able to acquire 15,000 square feet from. As Mr. Ojay had mentioned, the portion that we're looking at acquiring is at the very northern tip. It's not really very usable. It's filled with dirt and other material at this point. We would like to acquire that property and ultimately replace our well onto that property.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Any questions from the governing board? Ms. Hernandez?
Madam President, fellow board members, executive team. I would think it's mutually beneficial only because the size of your organization or corporation and the type of service that it provides to our residents, that it would be mutually beneficial. Would we get any benefit as I'm looking for a break in water for a segment of our community?
Yeah, I wish I could give you a break, but there are some things that we can offer. Obviously, there's a land transaction, and so there'll be money that comes your way. One other thing that could be of interest to you is my group is basically staff of scientists, geologists, and hydrologists. We volunteer for all kinds of science fairs. My team would be glad to come and volunteer some of your science fairs. While we're drilling this well, we would probably want to do the drilling during the summer when school's not in session. But if there were students that had an interest in understanding about aquifers and groundwater, I would be glad to send one of my staff members to classes to help with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam President, Board Member Hernandez, usually I try to squeeze out benefits when I talk to Brenda, but this time it skipped me, so next time I'll make sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Mr. Ojay, Ms. Cantu?
Yes, Madam President, Mr. Ojay, and I have your name?
My name is Bob Payne.
Okay. Just a concern question. Will that, at what point that will raise the quality of water or whatever we're providing to the community?
That's a really good question. Underneath, most of the groundwater that is underneath the valley usually has some constituent in it that is not what you would want to consume. And so what my staff does when we drill our wells, we have a series of tests that we do that tell us where the water bearing units are. And then we go and we do water quality tests in those units specifically, and then we design our well and construct it such that it's the best water quality possible. So the existing well that is there right now has high nitrates. Nitrates are not good for infants or the elderly. That water that comes out of this well has to get blended in the canal to get the nitrate levels down to acceptable limits. When we replace this well, we will get rid of the nitrate issue. The well originally was drilled as an agricultural well, so in those days, we wanted to get as much water as possible. Quality really wasn't an issue at that time. So today, things are different. We supply a lot of our water to the municipal supply systems, and so we want to get the best water quality possible.
One more question, Mr. King. What is the square mileage that this well will be covering?
This well will provide water for anyone that's downstream of its current location, not only along the canal, but south towards the freeway and down into South Phoenix. So our system flows based on gravity, and so it flows from the east to the west and from the north to the south. So any point downstream of this well will benefit from it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Oje.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Great questions. Any other? Mr. Pedro Lopez.
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar Lawler, members of the board and executive team, and Alex, thank you for being here. I am the board member that requested last time that we get some SRP folks to come in and give us a presentation, but also answer some questions. So thank you for being here, Mr. Payne. So you mentioned, and I think we're familiar with SRP being a major electric company at the moment, although it was established as a water company initially, even way before Arizona was established as a state. So are your water customers mainly all agricultural consumers?
No, originally they were, and the agricultural interests actually put their land up as collateral so that we could build our dams with the federal government. And then when we started generating power, we paid the federal government back. We're one of the few Bureau of Reclamation entities ever to do that. Today, instead of having, say, 90% of our water going to agricultural interests, about 90% instead goes to municipal interests. So only about 10 to 15% of our water actually goes to agricultural or urban irrigation.
Okay, so just to clarify, so basically, so for me to understand, I'm about 2 miles away from your proposed well, and our Phoenix residents, they do acquire water through the city of Phoenix. So in this case, this SRP supplies water to the city of Phoenix, and then we contract services with them?
That's correct. So what ends up happening is when land gets subdivided, the underlying land is what has the water right. That water right gets signed over to the city, and then they provide you that service. So we provide them raw water, they treat it, and then sell it to you.
Perfect. And then the following question is, has SRP done an assessment on the cost of the well? And if so, would that impact the water rates that will be passed on to the residents, whether it's for the city of Phoenix? Well, are we going to see a slight increase of water, or are we going to see a slight decrease of
the increases that you see come from the city that you live in. So we provide raw water, and our board dictates what that dollar amount is. Our board is still mainly made up of agricultural interests, and so you can bet that they want to have very reliable and low-cost water. So the water that our drilling of this well is nothing new. We drill between 3 and 6 wells a year, and we basically keep our water rates stable. So this won't have any impact on the water rates that we sell to the cities and other shareholders.
Okay, and then a few more questions. It seems that on the contract that we have here with the escrow, we're looking at $44,400. We are under the impression that SRP is going to pay for the assessment. Is that number set in stone, or can that number increase or decrease for our district?
We basically pay what the appraised value is. If we want to go above that, we have to take that to our board. We did an internal appraisal. We have a licensed appraiser at SRP. We're absolutely fine paying for an outside appraiser to come in. We do that frequently, so that's not an issue. If the appraisal came back and it was more money, then we would pay what the appraisal stated.
So we have our, SRP has already done an appraisal on the square footage.
Yes, we did an internal, but we are fine paying to have an external appraisal done.
And what is the process, what is the time window for an outside appraisal?
If I could defer to Dolph, could you answer that question?
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. My name is Gail Biasina. I'm the land agent working in this deal. Typically, the process takes about 30 to 45 days. Now, I've been working with your external legal counsel, Mr. Chipman, and basically it will be up to the board to assign an appraiser. So you would have to find your own appraiser and then we'll pay for the cost. But typically about 30 days.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Just to conclude, I'm sorry, Madam President, Board Member Lopez. We have that stipulated team here that's going to be up to $2,500. So for the appraisal cost.
And just my last comment, I had some history with SRP.
I hope it's been good.
Good, on both sides. I'll be supporting this if the board wishes to move forward. I do hope that there is broader conversations that are probably not, will be discussed here, and this is not the place to do so, but I do hope that as we move forward, SRP can, consider allowing customers that are not homeowners to be able to vote in your elections, because your election process was established when your organization was established, and so in order for me to vote in your elections, I have to be a citizen, which is fine, but I also have to be a homeowner, and your voting process is based on acreage. If I have a house 1/3 of an acre, that's the vote that I get. If I have a ranch with 500 acres, then those are the votes that I get. And it excludes renters as well. And so our community, we do serve a high population of renters in our community. And so it is a bigger conversation, but ultimately we represent the voters of this district, of the voters of Cartwright. And I think, hopefully we can see some faith from SRP and the board, as we continue to have those conversations, to figure out a way to expand, those voting rights to even homeowners who are U.S. citizens, but they're not within the voting rights boundary of the SRP system. So, I will support this because I do see a benefit for our community. We are a public institution. We're accountable to the voters, but I do hope that we can find different ways to slowly but surely, allow more voters to vote, on your SRP elections. That is the only hope that I have, that we can continue to find better ways to allow all of your customers to participate in the election process. And with this appraisal that we have, I don't think that we need an external appraisal. I definitely trust SRP in your internal process with this. And if the board wishes to move forward, I will be supporting the process to move forward with you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Cantu?
Madam President, I make a motion to move on this item, which is a purchase agreement with SRP and Cartwright.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. Before I proceed with your motion really quickly, I just wanted to say thank you. Anytime that we can work together collaboratively to help our community to gain access to things, it's great. And also, just really quickly, say thank you for SRP not turning off people's power during excessive heat warnings.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
thank you. That's something that that's definitely something that's very challenging, and every, situation is different. And, fortunately at SRP, we put together some programs to try to prevent that from happening. So thank you.
Yeah, we're very grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for being here to provide the extra information.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Cantu. We have a motion on the table to move forward to approve the action regarding Salt River Power. Do you have a question, Ms. Hernandez?
I'll wait for discussion.
I'm sorry. I'll second the motion. So we have a motion, and then I second the motion. Motion for Ms. Cantu, second from myself, Ms. Hernandez, on the possible action regarding the Salt River Power interest in purchasing a portion of the APN. It's very long. Ms. Hernandez, any discussion? Ms. Hernandez.
Thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, and executive team. Just thinking about the Mr. Lopez's proposal, not a formal proposal, but I'd be interested in getting some feedback, whether there's been any types of discussion regarding that type of, changes, legal changes moving forward. Just some feedback, not requiring anything, but I'd like to get some feedback.
Yeah, and if I could just address that, our voting system was basically set up by the state legislature, so in order to change it, we have to go to the state and get them to change it. I think what you'll see through time as these, our remaining agricultural land starts to go away, you're gonna find members that are maybe city representatives get onto our board, and I think that is probably the trend that you'll start to see. And maybe at that time there could be some changes, but at this juncture, it's a state legislature issue. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Mr. Lopez?
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar Lawler, members of the board and executive team, and Alex. Just again, thank you, Mr. Payne and your team for coming down today. I know that we stayed with this item last board meeting to hear from you guys. So just to echo Ms. Hernandez's comments as well, we'll be interested in seeing the progress. I think we do, for the most part, all of us have a relationship with Mr. Manny Tarango, your government relations person. And so, we hope to be part of the process with the well, and I think our students would definitely be interested in attending or seeing or learning about it. And once it's ready, I think, at least for me, as a board member, I would definitely be interested to be part of the ceremony, or just attend or see the progress, because right now, as you see on the screen, that's what we're, I would say giving to you, but we're selling to you, and definitely we'll be interested in seeing the final product, and that way we can talk to our community, to our voters, and let them know that, we sold 50,000 square feet of our school, but it was, to benefit them and everything around it. So thank you for that.
Thank you, yes.
And we look forward on the updates and collaboration with you guys.
Yeah, I'll throw one more thing out here, and Rich will probably beat me up in the parking lot, but we toyed around. We had another well site on a school property that we expanded, and we really thought it'd be neat if we could get the kids to make some kind of a ceramic tile that we could stick on the sides of the well site. It might be kind of a neat thing to do. So if that's something you're interested in, we could probably make something like that happen as well.
Oh, you know what? The principal is here. So can we hear from our Heather Ray principal on if we can get our students to do that? I feel like we're come on, Mr. Humperdinck. You can do it. We know it because we were there this weekend. I think that's a great idea, and I'm sure that my fellow board members think that's an amazing idea as well, because anytime that we can collaborate and include our students, that's incredible. And I know the piece of land seems really small from here, but looking at the houses, you can tell it's a pretty substantial piece of land, but it's also unusable to us. So it's great to see that we can use it in collaboration with you for something that brings purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, Madam President, Mr. Payne, thank you again. We had discussed water quality in our district in previous meetings, just due to the fact that I have a son that suffered from different kind of health issues due to the especially our children. They miss a lot of school because they do get ill, and unfortunately, it's not something that common doctors or pediatricians can target, and they cannot find it. I had to knock so many doors in order for him to find some to alleviate the problem. So that's when my concern started back last year because of the quality of the water. So hopefully this will, the sooner the better we can prevent any kind of illness for our students. We appreciate it for your work, and I hope and pray that our children can benefit seriously from this.
So thank you, that's our objective. So thank you.
Mr. Payne, thank you so much. All right, so we have our motion to approve the sale of a portion of district property to SRP located at 7070 West Heatherbrae Drive, Phoenix, Arizona, 85033, in accordance with the terms of the proposed purchase agreement. So we have a motion by Ms. Rosa Cantu, a second by myself, Mr. Hernandez, and all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. Thank you to SRP for the great opportunity to partnership and for being here this evening to provide us further clarification. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Don't be surprised if we call you for the psychologist, the scientist, and the chemist.
Please do. I'm serious. We'll bring people out and we'll do that.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll definitely
Thank you
do
for your time. Moving on to item E, report summary of current events. Dr. Angela Lawler.
Board President, members of the Governing Board, and everyone here tonight, thank you for being here, our very first Thursday meeting. It looks like it's a good time considering our audience tonight. I would like to thank a lot of you for just a wonderful first week of school. Thank you for all you do. We don't just walk in the first day and everything seems perfect, so thank you for that. I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to Emma Hattigi and the entire Educational Services Department, Transportation, Community Engagement, and all the support staff who assisted with our very first annual Cartwright Conference. I'd like to also thank our governing board members who were able to attend, our board president, vice president, and Mr. Lopez. So I'd like to give a hand to all of them. I also know we had a lot of donations over the course of the summer. We spoke to Mr. Armour and the donations for Heatherbrae. But I also like to thank Mr. Lopez for working with Verizon for the generous donation of backpacks filled with supplies for our students. Many of our schools were able to utilize those this past week at Meet the Teacher Night, and we'll continue to use those as well. The Safe and Caring Schools Committee members who attended the Innovative School Summit collaborated on new learning. We had another meeting today. We discussed 10 trends, and our Vice President and Board Member Hernandez are on the committee, but Vice President Garcia was able to attend today. I'm very thankful for the committee members of teachers and administrators and our governing board that are on that as well. And a special thank you to Ceci Sanchez, I don't know if she's here, for chairing the committee, because we're all over the place and you bring us together, so thank you for that, because there's a lot to do. The Safe and Caring Schools Committee also created a new discipline matrix that has started to be used for this school year. There is going to be a training for our administration, our assistant principals by Dr. Osuna and Dr. Sanchez this month. If the governing board is interested in seeing the new matrix, I'm more than happy to have them come and present that as well. I also want to take a moment to let everybody know how absolutely grateful that I am for the prayers, the love, and everything that you did this past week as our family lost my mother-in-law, Rosemary Lawler. So I just want to thank you so much, because as I said at the Cartwright Conference, we have two families. We have our, if if we do it right, we have two families, our own personal families, but also the families here at work, here at Cartwright. And I just can't tell you, I know I couldn't have gotten through it with all of your support and all of your best wishes and stepping up. And first day of school came, and I didn't have to worry because I had such a great team. So thank you so much for that. So with that, I would like to, we have a few presentations. If you get the board bulletins that I send every week, we've been very busy this summer preparing. So I would like to start by calling our Executive Director of School Leadership and Ryan Anderson that will be presenting tonight on the updated principal evaluation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam President, Governing Board, Dr. Lawler, Executive Team, Mr. Lopez. So nice to have you here. Good evening, good afternoon to you as well. Today, Ryan and I will share with you the process and the reasons for revising the principal evaluation. But before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the following individuals for their time and effort in revising the principal evaluation, along with the resources we have for administrators to use. Please stand up and be recognized. I really do appreciate your expertise and your experiences that you shared with us. So if you see your name up there, stand up, please. Thank you all very, very much. So the current evaluation tool is based on standards from 2008. In 2015, new standards were created and were renamed Professional Standards for Educational Leaders. This was completed by the National Policy Board for Educational Leaders. The Arizona Department of Education adopted these standards in 2016 and renamed them Arizona's Professional Administrative Standards. I'd like to point out one new feature with the new standards. Each standard begins with effective educational leaders and ends with the well-being of each student. That is a new feature for our standards. This is an example of the differences between the old standards and the new. This is standard number 1. In 2008, it states an education leader promotes the success of every student by facilitating the development, articulation, implementation, and stewardship of a vision of learning that is shared and supported by all stakeholders. Now the 2016, which is the new standard, states effective educational leaders develop, advocate, and enact a shared mission, vision, and core values of high-quality education and academic success and well-being for the well-being of each student. The 2016 standard includes vision, mission, and notice it has core values. Core values are the beliefs and actions that the team, the staff takes in order to have their vision and mission become a reality. The Principal Task Force found that the 2016 standards are more explicit for principals and outlines the expectations. They are grounded in research. They articulate the leadership our principals need. They are designed to move the needle on student learning and achieve more equitable outcomes. The expectations, also known as the indicators for each standard, are what we use to help the principals and guide their work. And Ryan Anderson, the principal at Estrella Middle School, is going to explain that a little bit to you.
Good evening, Madam President, Governing Board members, Dr. Lawler, and Executive Team. I want to thank Ms. Lopez for this opportunity. I really appreciated being on this team and being able to look at these new standards and work with my colleagues to create a rubric that really helped define the expectations and what it means to be an administrator in the Cartwright School District. So we had 3 meetings where the group got together to review these new standards and create this new rubric. Our first meeting was on May 13th. At this meeting, as a team and through regular discussion, we looked at each standard and decided as a team that we wanted that standard to be a part of the principal evaluation. We determined that each standard was well written as is and that it demonstrated what it means to be an administrator in our school district. Then on June 19th at our second meeting, we broke apart into teams, we divided up, and we each took an individual standard as a group, and we looked at the indicators that were already created for us, and we developed a continuum that defined the progression of expectations for an administrator in our district. And in certain cases, we determined that certain standards didn't have everything that we would expect from a CSD or a Cartwright administrator. And so using the mission, vision, and the goals that were determined by the governing board, we made sure to add extra indicators that more clearly define what it means to be a principal. Then finally, after we worked together in teams and we developed all of these indicators for each standard to create this continuum, we took that work back to our colleagues, to other administrators and principals in the district, and had them review it as well so we could get more feedback. And then finally, on July 25th, we came back together once we had that feedback, and as a group, we went through every standard, we reviewed the new indicators, we reviewed the proposed changes, and we decided on what that final indicator and those final standards would look like. So what I'd like to show you is just one sample rubric from the new evaluation tool that was created. So this is from Standard 10, and you can see in the far left-hand side it lists the standard, which says effective educational leaders act as agents of continuous improvement to promote each student's academic success and well-being. So this standard here is specifically talking about, as an administrator, what you do to ensure continuous improvement on your campus. And as you go from left to right, you have the descriptors of ineffective, developing, effective, and highly effective. And beneath each of those descriptors, we have the indicators that tell you what an administrator or a principal looks like who is acting in that regard. Now, we've highlighted some of these for you. Those that are in italics and underlined, I'm going to be looking at those ones specifically because those are ones that we added that we thought were necessary for a Cartwright administrator. So looking first in the ineffective column, one of the indicators we added is there is no evidence of systems of support for struggling students. So what we're saying there is an ineffective principal has no systems of support on their campus for our struggling students. When you move over to the developing column, it's a little bit more fleshed out, there's a little bit more information, and now as a developing administrator, there is inconsistent use of systems of support for those struggling students. We also added information about the walkthroughs, that they're inconsistently utilized to provide feedback to teachers, to promote continuous improvement. And then the use of data is to use to create school goals, design professional development plans, and are aligned to the walkthroughs. So that describes for you what a developing principal would look like when talking about continuous improvement. Moving on, we have the descriptors for an effective administrator or principal. And now you see use of the word consistently. So if you're an effective administrator, you're consistently utilizing those systems of support for our struggling students. In addition, when you're utilizing the walkthrough process, it now becomes a two-way communication between the administrator and the teacher to promote continuous improvement with the teachers. And in addition to that, now we're using data to not only create school goals and design PD plans, but to monitor those school goals and make sure we're making progress towards them. And then finally, in the highly effective column, for the highly effective principal or administrator, now you are seeking out and you are proactive about ensuring systems of support. So So it's not just consistently utilizing the ones you have, but seeking out more support when necessary. Furthermore, when you're using data to monitor your goals, you are adjusting those goals as necessary, depending on the progress that you're making. And finally, one that we added that we think is very important with our visible learning journey is you create a culture and climate where all students become assessment-capable learners. And that came directly from the professional development that we're doing for visible learning. So finally, I would like to end with this excerpt, which comes from the Wallace Foundation, which helped put together these standards. And this kind of answers the why we want to utilize these standards. And this is what it says. Schools and school districts need effective leaders like never before to take on the challenges and opportunities facing education today and in the future. The 2015 standards paint a rich portrait of such a leader, one whom our students are counting on to help them reach their full potential, and they shouldn't have to wait for change any longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson, Ms. Lopez. Any questions or our team experts here?
Yeah, all you on the task force, you ready to answer a question?
Thank you for the presentation. Ms. Hernandez?
Thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, and district executive team. As I'm listening, I'm just thinking of the different experiences and scenarios throughout the last couple of years. And I'm referring back to the same implementation model of providing assistance to those struggling students, which is why we're having this discussion. And I'd like to, and I'm sure this has been done, this is not in any way my expertise. But as I'm listening to the desired outcomes that we'd like to have, I still have concerns about the ability to implement the desired outcomes that we'd like to have. I guess I want to feel confident that we are utilizing a model, and I'm going to assume it's going to be a different type of educational model that has been used in the past, that is reflective of those desired outcomes that we'd like to see implemented in the classroom. And I'm going to make reference back to that void and that disconnect, and hopefully this model, or I don't hear there's a model or not, maybe even in the model, but the ability to be able to bridge that so that we're providing the ample support into the classroom. While the teacher is going to be responsible for the actual implementation and providing that result where the kids are learning and teaching those standards. That's just something that continues to I'm hearing the standards, I'm seeing the difference, I'm seeing the difference in the tone and the language. To me, it's just the reality of that implementation and what is in place that's going to provide those desired outcomes differently than in the past. I think that I'm interested in learning more about that. And also, at the end of the day, we have a great evaluation tool to identify problem areas, and I can be told, I can be coached. I know it's going to take time, but at the same time, resources. I guess ensuring that we have the necessary resources to be able to provide that outcome. And if they've been implemented, if we've had those same resources, if we're relying on the same resources as in the past, what is going to be different? I'm looking for that magic that for me makes the transition from here to there, regardless of what model. I just want to ensure that that teachers in the classroom have those resources. And I know that then throwing that third problem into the whole scheme of things, the fact that we have perhaps not as many experienced or teachers in the classroom, such as we're talking back about, thinking back about the substitute issue,
evaluation, thinking that this could be effective, and it sounds great, just being able to establish or develop those desired outcomes. And what would be different to make that happen? What's in there that will show those results or lead us there?
President Hernandez, Mrs. Hernandez, and members of the board, that's a very loaded question. Was that a question, or you just want us to go through? It's just
well, there is a question in there, and if it wasn't clear, let me clarify that.
So what we've done this year, thanks to the governing board, is we do have a new position this year, because the principal position is the best position, I think, along with the teachers. They're dynamic, and you have to have excellence in both in order to make change for our students. And we have spent a lot of time and money and resources over the past few years, specifically using Title II for our new teacher mentor program. We have instructional coaches for teachers on the campuses. But this is the first year that we've actually utilized Title II funds for principal support. And so because we were able to work together to come up with a plan to have Patricia to become the executive director of school leadership, we're also going to be working with all of our principals on principal coaching, and I'm going to provide more on that once I meet with them. I'm going to be meeting with just principals once a month. We're going to be doing a lot of professional development, so that's the differences as far as the systems that we've been able to put in place. And I've got some principals that are new to the principalship, and I would just like you to raise your hand if you feel like having Patricia there the last few weeks has been good or not, or just what do you guys think? I've already heard such positive feedback from our new principals regarding the support that's there. And our challenge is, Ryan's not a new principal, how do we help our principals who are already doing a really good job? How do we get them to the next level? So that's the challenge and what we're working on to ensure. And I think that this evaluation system is a tool that is more specific. Just by reading this presentation and Patricia sharing all the way through, it does give more bullet points for what does it look like. And if we want to be highly effective, these are the things that we need to do. And if I don't know how to get there, what's the professional development that I need personally to make sure that I become that dynamic leader that we need for our students?
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler. Ms. Hernandez?
Just continuing on to that point before we move forward, something that jumps out at me when we're looking at this rubric, I see we go to the middle ground, says effective. What it would take, what does it look like to be an effective leader? And it talks about, it says collaborate with members at all levels of the organization to make campus decisions. Remind me, we've had PLC, how many years now? I think been maybe more than 10 years. And it's still in place, and we continue to implement that. But we're working towards, we have to put the words in it to make sure that it's, this is what an effective leader looks like. Without saying anything more, I guess, to that, I think it's got to be, I'm always optimistic. I'm going to be positive. I'm always positive because everything can be achievable. It's just from where we're going, where I want to understand it clearly as we move forward so that I feel that I'm being most effective by providing the resources necessary and that we're targeting and doing what we need to do to provide those desired results. I think that that's why we're having this conversation, and I think it's going to take more than one person's leadership and one person being in a position, because all of us are not new to the district. We've all been here, and that hasn't taken place yet. So I'd like to see, I'm interested more in bringing me, help me, bring me along to see where, after, how long, what's the turnaround? A year after, to be able to show the stellar numbers within sites, I guess, to be the highly effective.
Mrs. Hernandez, board president, members of the board teams, we're going to be looking every month, but ultimately we do want to see by the end of the year that our data shows that there's increases in student success, whether it's on the behavioral side or on the academic side. We definitely want to show the differences, and it is, it's that self-reflection as a leader of how we're going to ensure that we're meeting those different standards. But I have so much faith in our new principal team this year. They've got this, and we're going to make sure that they're there to support them. And so Patricia went to again, we're spending money on principal leadership for the first time. And Patricia attended a summit, a week-long summit this summer, and she's already come back with so many great ideas to help move that needle to ensure that our students have the college and career success they need. But Patricia, do you want to share a little bit about that summit?
The summit was with a group of principals and consultants from around the United States. It was great. We learned a lot about principal coaching, how to coach a principal, how to meet them where they are, find the standard that they should be addressing and how to move them along. We've had a lot of conversations with lots of principal supervisors, I did, from around the country. It was wonderful. I was able to come back with a toolbox and ready to work. And I was able to take what I had already created for principal coaching and change it to the model that I learned from the New York Leadership Academy and make it Cartwright's. So I'm really excited to get that going. I'm really excited about also the new standards. The new standards are very explicit, and it provides this resource that the task force put together, the one that you all see, that Ryan went over. It provides them a continuum of what does it look like in practice. What does it look like if I am developing, and there's 10 standards. So it covers a whole range of areas. Instructional practices, culture and climate, it's just equity. The standards cover a lot of things, and they're interdependent of each other. They work together to support each other. Now, a principal can take a look at one of the standards they're looking at and find themselves on it. Oh boy, I'm developing, but I really want to be effective. So what does that look like? What do I have to do to move and become more effective? Because I don't know one principal that does not want to be effective. I do not know one teacher that does not want to be a good teacher. So this is a tool that helps them develop by their peers. Yes, we use the resources, but we made it our own as far as Cartwright School Districts and what do principals expect from each other. And they held the task force. I give them a lot of credit because they held themselves to very high standards. And they even questioned, if I want to be highly effective, I better work more on this area. So they reflected on it, and we all decided as a task force that this is a nice resource that's going to be able to help principals move the dial. And I'm really excited. I know Dr. Lawler is going to share with the principals next week about coaching, but one thing that's different is every principal will receive a coach. Every principal. And not me. I'm going to be working with first-year principals. So the principals that are already experienced will have another coach, either a retired principal or an outside consultant. So I'm very excited about the opportunity to help every principal grow as an instructional leader and really get their instructional program aligned and coherent.
Ms. Hernandez?
Thank you for that. I'm listening and I'm thinking. And my next question has to do with the coaching. Experienced leaders, I'm just assuming with previous principalship experience.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking, what position are they in that they're not in?
Like one of them is Eva Stevens. She's now her own consultant. She now has her own consulting business. She'll be working with a couple of principals. So we have experienced principals and experienced principals with the outside. Oh, we also have Dr. McDowell, who's going to be working with a few principals. And I know they're very happy about it. And we couldn't give them to everyone, but every principal is going to have a quality coach. So it's very exciting because they're going to be able to work. If there's a principal who's having trouble putting a system together to help their struggling learners, the Tier 3, Tier 2 program, if there's a principal who's struggling with having difficult conversations with staff or parents, they now have an individual coach to help them through it. So I'm very excited to get that started.
And I think too that this is where I'm actually headed, is that, and the concern is, yes, we need to work on developing these leaders. Perhaps it's been there, it hasn't been there. I'm just not willing to just point that one, this is where the problem's been at. I think it's been a conglomerate of problems. But at the end of the day, you have a site that you're responsible for, and a certain number of teachers, maybe more than half new, maybe some have been there less than 5 years. Maybe it's I lack the buy-in to the PLC. Perhaps it's been I'm so overwhelmed, with everything that's coming down on me. And yes, helping me develop as a site leader would help me develop maybe a stronger plan around to address those issues. But that's where I think is, at the end of the day, you're going to have, I don't care how strong you can talk to a person, you're not going to scare me into doing better. But how to, what system do we have in place that's going to empower even, that teacher that is burned out or tired, tried everything, or, but anyway, but I won't belabor it, but that's where my concern is about the reality of implementation. But I'm looking forward to those first reports, maybe September 30th, I'll set my alarm in October.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez, for your constructive comments and questions. So I'd like to address you. So, fellow board members, Superintendent Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, executive team, Mr. Alex Lopez, thank you for being here, and members of the audience, and our representatives this evening. So, thank you for the presentation. Sorry, my notes are a hot mess. So the first thing that I would like to say is I ask that we provide the opportunity and the ability, that we give our staff the ability and the time to provide us, to show us, give them the opportunity to show us what they can do. Number one, leadership. Leadership, and definitely why you guys are working on changing the rubric and going above and beyond the standards to provide clarification for our principals. Thank you. I totally understand why you're doing it. And I really appreciate that you all collaborated together to come up with the additional clarification on the items. The other thing is, so first I ask that we do allow the extra time because leadership is very important. Our principals are leaders of the schools. Dr. Aguilar-Lawler is our leader here, and we are, this is our new year under new leadership. So we need to allow our staff the time to make those changes. But I do appreciate all of the questions from my fellow members to ensure that we are providing the best services to our students and that we do provide the best supports. And I appreciate Dr. Aguilar-Lawler going through all of the different supports that we provide as well. Some of the other things the things that we're doing are providing the resources, the supports that I ask that we celebrate the ideas, we allow the people to do their jobs to the best of their ability with the supports that we've provided in place. The conference, when you ask what it is that we're doing that's different, the conference, instead of a welcome back, providing a conference to provide professional development. For the first time in all of the years that I've been here, we provided an actual conference. And I'm kind of sad that the two of you weren't there to take part in it because it was incredible. It was an actual conference here at our own district at Mark T. Atkinson Middle School. Everyone was provided with professional development and supports, and it was the most amazing thing for the first year to have that. And I am looking forward to next year's conference. It was absolutely incredible. It was awesome to have Dr. Bill Daggett here, but that's another thing. That's another difference that we've provided this year. Constantly professional development, and I know we've done PLC in the past, but this has been raising the bar. So I appreciate all of the things that you're doing. But I do ask that as a board, we provide our staff, our principals, the ability to be able to make these changes. Because this is our, 2019-2020 school year. I don't really want to look at the past. I want to move forward. I want to continuously be moving forward, looking at what we can do to continuously learn, grow, and improve, because our students, like Mr. Lopez here, are what truly matters. And when our students are doing well, and we educate them, the entire child, and include our social and emotional learning and the supports to our principals, our students can be successful. And so I have full confidence that everyone is going to be successful, and that the team is doing their best to provide further supports to the principals so that they can continue to raise the bar. And I really appreciate that you went above and beyond with the standard rubric and that you added additional clarification. It definitely makes sense to me, more so in the italicized areas. So I understand that principals, I'm sure, Brian, you worked on this as well, we had principals working on it. It definitely does show you, it doesn't it definitely shows you very clearly what it is that you need to be doing to be able to move from developing to effective. And if you don't want to be effective and that's not good enough for you and you want to go to highly effective, it tells you exactly what you need to do to become an effective principal. So I'm really grateful that you guys went through all of this to come up and collaboratively again, because communication is key, and sharing those ideas and your thoughts, definitely very important. And this is, again, I'd like to repeat, this is our first year providing principal supports. So yes, we're going to ask the questions and they're going to be difficult, but that's how we learn and grow. So I definitely appreciate what my fellow members are doing. I just ask that we give you guys the opportunity to show us what you can do with the new supports that are in place. And I'm sure we would be receiving an update. If you're doing the monthly, we would receive an update timely. And so that's, we won't know until it happens.
I'm sure Patricia would have won for the
we've got to give some time for that needle to move. And just knowing that the principals are happy with the supports, that's incredible. And my notes really are all over the place. And I appreciate you going out to that 1-week summit to continuously learn, so that we can continue to provide our students the absolute best education possible and the education that they deserve. So thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Yes, Madam President, thank you. I just have a question for Patricia and Brian. I want to say thank you for the new rubric. You cannot move forward if you don't reflect on the past. And to me, reflecting on the past is moving forward just to improve, to better ourselves and better the students that should in. And we have, and probably you can tell me, how many new principals?
7.
7 new
7 first-year principals.
7 first-year principals. And, which is not an easy task, I'm sure. And this rubric reminds me when Mrs. Fernandez and I worked in a new evaluation tool for our superintendent in the past. And that brought a lot of changes, and it brought a lot of good things, because we raised the bar just the way you're doing it at. And I'm sure this will help you get our students to the next level. That's what everybody wants. As I walked in the hallway today, I saw that there was, our district was a letter B a couple years ago. And we continue to struggle to move to an A. And we have great principals, Eva Stevens, Christy Wells, you name it. A lot of good principals that we have in our district, and it's not that we are not doing our best. I think that we're just not working across the board, because what I see here is that we had many schools that were not implementing the circle, initiative circle, the collaborative initiative circle that we had developed in the past to implement it in order to measure the students' learning. and for not being implemented across, I think that's where we miss a lot of our students, I can say. And we also have, Mrs. Hernandez mentioned PLC. PLC and Mrs. Howdy will allow me to testify that she's an expert. She presented at a national level once. I remember I attended your presentation with PLC. PLC was a great tool for our teachers because it does move them to the next level of proficiency in their classroom. They make them, and I don't want to be the expert on this, but from what I understand, Christy Wells has PLC in her previous campus, and we know that Sunset is being recognized statewide for having that effectiveness and having those great teachers. I hear parents that they said she has everything under control. She has everything. She has in that school what she wants to accomplish with students and the people that she has. The students, the teachers are there and they know what is expected of them. And yes, leadership is important and it takes time. It takes time. I'm not trying to say that what you've done is not good. I think it's good. I would like to see PLC included in those rubrics because I know we have time allowed for PLC for teachers, and I don't know what's going on during that time. What is happening? And I would like to see that the time it's used proactive, and it's not going to happen. If PLC is not going to take place, well, we can get rid of that time given to the teachers because they can do it working on this, working on other plans if you have. But I see everybody here wants to see the schools to improve and to do better. And PLC is not something that works for the district any longer. I think we need to look into the time that we're allowing the teachers to receive, to collaborate with PLC. And the other thing is there's things in place, and from what I see is they're not being effective. What are we going to do about it in order to move forward into a better and more effective tools that are going to bring more effectiveness in the classroom? Because seven new principals, they're new with PLC as well. So the time is being allocated for the teachers, but what's really happening in those campuses with that time? If we're going to implement it on this new rubric, I don't know if that would be your choice or not, but just to have something that reflects what are we doing with that, and we're going to get rid of PLC. I don't know, but we still have a lot of staff attending PLC conferences out of state, so I believe they're still implemented in the campus. But just for you to think about it, I'm not the expert again, but I just believe that yes, it's great to move forward. It's great to have high expectations of our students. Everybody here is expect to see those great accomplishments in our classroom. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Well, thank you, Ms. Cantu. I don't know why I lost your name for a second. I knew it, so I know I didn't see. Anyway, Principal Task Force. Am I correct when I say that one of the new standards is all about PLC?
Yes.
So one of the new standards is all about PLC. So the rubric that you see here is developed as well for principals to use to help them move along. Another thing that we're doing differently this year is we have learning rounds. We're going to start learning rounds, and this is when principals are going to get together and observe another principal in practice. And then come back and talk about it and learn and see what they can implement immediately. And one of the areas is PLC. running an effective team meeting. And matter of fact, I emailed the principal today and asked her, hey, are you willing to do this? I'm waiting for an answer, and I know you hear me, you're out there. So we do have learning rounds, and that's something different too. We're doing everything we can to improve and develop the principal as an instructional and school leader. Because second to an effective teacher, the principal is the next person that impacts learning the most. So we do have a lot of new things. I thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd just like to add one more thing. One of the big things we've been focusing on for the past couple of years is visible learning. And as we learn more about visible learning and trying to create assessment-capable learners out of our students, we talk a lot about assessments and success criteria and establishing those success criteria for our students and being very explicit with them. Here's what you need to do in order to be successful, in order to learn and develop those skills that we're asking you to in our classrooms. So I think what this tool does is it does that for administrators. It allows us to know exactly what is expected of us and what are the skills and the things that we need to be put in place to become effective or highly effective administrators. And, certainly no offense against the old tool that was used, but it was very simplistic. It just listed all the standards, and then next to each standard, you were either ineffective, developing, effective, or highly effective. But there was no language there to differentiate the four descriptors. Whereas with this tool, it clearly lines out, here's what you need to do in each area. And so I'm really excited as an administrator to start using this tool and see where I fall so that I can set goals for myself and my staff to move us forward.
Thank you, Ryan. And I had mentioned before that when one individual acknowledge and work to better themselves, everybody around them better themselves. So thank you for your presentation, and we look forward for great results. Hopefully it doesn't take 3 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Mr. Pedro Lopez.
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar Lawler, members of the board, executive team, and Alex. I just wanted to thank you, Patricia and Brian Anderson, for the presentation. I do believe that it is extremely complicated to hold somebody accountable, whether it's principal or staff member, if we're not providing the one-on-one professional development. And so, with you and with the committee, working with our principals, I think that we're going to give them the tools for them to be successful. We'll have the room to grow as a team. And definitely this, could be a game changer for us to move our district forward, move our schools forward, and potentially move a label up. When I was first hired as a director, after some time, I resigned because I felt that I was not effective, for my team anymore. And so, for quite a few years, I blame myself for that. But I think as I have grown and understand and seek more professional development, I do understand that if we don't provide that for our staff, they're not going to be successful. So, having you as the executive director for leadership and coaching new principals and everybody else, I think it's a positive thing. And I do look forward on seeing you again here in a couple of months or a year with those results, because I think it's greatly needed, and it's also a good practice from our end, to hold everyone accountable if we provide the leadership. Because if we don't, as we hadn't done so in the past, it's extremely hard to hold somebody accountable to a standard when we never help them grow. But I think we already took care of that problem, by adding this position, and I have complete faith in you and your team. And again, you have a whole background. You've sat on a dais before on a neighboring district as well. You seek professional development. So, I think we as a board and as a district, we're lucky to have you. And again, I do expect and foresee nothing but success, moving forward. So thank you, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Lopez. Ms. Denise Garcia.
Dr. Lawler, executive team, members of the board, Alex. I wanted to say thank you because I've been following everybody on Twitter, and everybody is blowing it up with the great reviews and thankfulness and the great outcomes that have only just begun. So thank you.
Awesome job, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Because Patricia don't play. Sorry, I just had to share it because she's the only one who could keep us on track during our board developments. So thank you, Ms. Lopez. All right, so moving on, back to Dr. Aguilar Lawler for our Cartwright Employee Daycare update.
Madam President, members of the governing board, at any time, any of our panel, Mr. Garro, Mr. Aguilar, if you have any comments, just let us know and we will allow you to jump in. Okay. All right. The next presentation did come as a result of the listening tours, and I'm so excited to share where we are in our Cartwright Employee Daycare. And I might put Leslie on the spot if Dr. Sanchez doesn't say something about what you shared with me that really meant a lot. So just keep listening. Dr. Sanchez.
Good evening, Madam President and governing board members, Alex, Dr. Aguilar Lawler, and executive team. So I'm really excited to share with you the update regarding our Cartwright Employee Daycare. And the first thing that I wanted to begin with is sharing the philosophy and goals of our daycare. And of course, we're committed to developing caring, respectful, and responsive relationships with children from infancy through preschool. And we look forward to partnering with our families to support each child's foundation. And then the underlying piece there, because it aligns directly to the vision of our district, which is to ensure that our kids are becoming independent, confident, lifelong learners. And our goals are the same as the entire district as far as expanding academic achievement, ensuring excellent customer service, and promoting the social and emotional learning of our children. And so as far as an overview, we were really excited to open at Flor del Sol, but we're having some plumbing issues. And so the date that you see there, I'm waiting until this early next week to be able to give another definite date. But the fact is we do have a backup plan. And so we are providing for those families that are needing that childcare, that have already enrolled. We do have a plan and we are meeting their needs. And so we just want to grow and become bigger and really meet the needs of more of our employees. And so we're looking forward to being able to give you an actual date very soon so that we can then begin to really share the amazing things that are going on in our daycare already. So, but at this point, we have completed, the construction, but like I said, we're having some plumbing issues. And so we'll get that done and taken care of. And so one of the big things that we needed once that's complete is the certificate of occupancy so that we know that we can occupy that space. And so, but to comply with licensing standards, we, in our infant, there are different rules when it comes to infants, 0 and 1 year olds. And so we've added exterior doors to Flor del Sol, the 2 rooms that'll have the babies and the 1 year olds. For every 20 children, you have to have an additional toilet. And so we've added some toilets. And then, of course, we were looking forward to our inspection. Once all that's done, we are ready to be inspected by the Arizona Department of Health. And so we're excited about that. Our team has been working really hard, and but because of the plumbing issues, we're going to wait on that. And so once we have an updated plan for opening, we'll also give you an updated date of when we plan to be inspected. The plan for the daycare, so again, what we're planning for is we have 5 rooms there at Flor del Sol. 1 will be for the infants, 1 for the 1 year olds, 1 for the 2 year olds, 1 for the 3 year olds, and then a room for that pre-kindergarten for 5 year olds. And then we are excited to really provide high quality that learning that's necessary. And so one of the things that we plan to do is use the ASQ, which is a tool we use in our early childhood programs already, and which measures the social emotional learning and academics, where kids are currently at in the area of communication, gross motor, fine motor, problem solving, and personal social skills. So the moment they begin in our program, we're able to assess where they're at from 0 to 5, and begin to start to really develop them and have a partnering again with our parents to develop those skills, and we'll be able to provide, just like we do in the school level, provide progress reports and so forth. We'll be able to show the progress we're making with the children in our daycare. Accomplishments thus far, first, again, the building's looking beautiful, and that's why I can't wait till we can actually have that grand opening. It's coming along. I'm thankful for all the support we've received from the various departments to ensure that we have the furnishings needed to have a beautiful classroom set up, and so we've done that. And as far as the other accomplishment, we have an amazing team. I can't wait till everyone meets the team that we've hired. We have some really hardworking people who, even just thinking about, again, trying to save money, principals, I'm so thankful for so many of our principals who said, we have extra chairs, for the kids, we have extra tables and things like that, and so we were able to get things out of storage, but they were pretty dirty, and it was amazing because again, they were in storage, and it was amazing to see how our new daycare employees were out there in the heat, it's power washing all of our old things to make them look new again, and even old wooden furniture for shelves, we had employees also making those look new again, and so we tried to be as fiscally efficient as possible as we're providing the service to our employees. So again, we have a lead teacher who has 4 years of experience and is excited and really leading our efforts there with the lesson planning and so forth. Again, we're fully staffed with teacher caregivers, and what our plan is for each of those rooms is to have a lead teacher who's a full-time employee, and then 2 part-times, one that comes and does that morning shift, and then one who does the PM shift in each of those classrooms. And then one of the requirements from the Arizona Department of Health is to ensure appropriate professional development for all staff. And so these are just some of the things that we've had to train on, and I'm so thankful for, as Dr. Aguilar mentioned, the collaboration we've had with our preschool program, and Leslie's been so supportive, allowing us to partner with her team as we've had some of these trainings, and then her lead teacher there, Christy Scherer, who's been very supportive in providing a lot of these trainings too. So we're going to have a really highly trained staff too. And then as far as costs for the employees, again, Dr. Aguilar Lawler's vision is for it to really be a benefit to our employees, and so we've done the best we can to make it as affordable as possible. Administrators, it's $150, and again, with that rate, there are the staff that are listed under that category, and then for meals, and that's a breakfast, a snack, and a lunch. If families are taking advantage of that too, it's $31. Otherwise, they can just pay the $150 and bring their own meals. And then teachers, nurses, it's $100 a week. And then again, the $31 if they choose to take advantage of the meals as well. And then for classified, it's $50 a week for their children. And so, and again, $31 for the meals. But however, we do offer the food services working with us, and again, another department that I'm thankful that's been helping us, so families can fill out the application, and if they qualify for free reduced meals, then they may not even have to pay the $31.25, or they could pay a reduced, all depending on what they qualify for. All right, so again, like I said, the center will provide breakfast, lunch, and snacks, and then free and reduced meals for those who qualify. As far as the calendar, hours of operation, we have the center hours will be 7 to 5 p.m. and we'll operate according to the teacher calendar. However, we do know that some of our the people who are taking advantage of this benefit already are 12-month classified employees. And if any administrators sign up, and so then we'll determine the need that's there in the summer to see if we just need to have a modified staffing to be able to accommodate for that need. And in closing, again, once we get it going, we're excited to increase enrollment. I've been telling people it was the neatest experience to see, because everyone's been working really hard, and we completed 1 week there at Berry with those that are needing the service now. And on Friday evening, there was a little one who mom is a teacher at one of our schools, came to pick up her little one, and he was crying. He didn't want to go home, and so that, after all the hard work, it just melted my heart to see that. And then it was cute because the mom said, "Son, you're hurting my feelings that you don't want to come home." And he said, and he looked at our team and he said, "But Mom, I love these ladies." And so that was awesome. And so, like I said, we're looking forward to be able to really advertise the great things that we're doing. And then we look forward to continuing to grow the expertise of our qualified staff and really grow the program. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. I really appreciate, oh my gosh, all that you've done in your team. And Dr. Asuna, thank you for your leadership. And Mr. OJ, I think one of the things was we really do want this to be a benefit for our staff. Healthcare for families is so high, which I'm working on that as well, because that also came out of listening tour. But if our staff members can actually work and bring their kids here for a very, very low cost. And Leslie, do you mind sharing what your classified staff members have said to you? Because I think it's really important that our board hears.
Well, I just think that it's super life-changing for our classified staff. I mean, the cost of childcare is usually the determining factor of whether somebody is able to work or not, which has such a greater impact on our community and families as a whole. And so I just think that it's phenomenal that we are taking that barrier away and allowing people to make the choice about whether they want to work and not the fact that they have kiddos making that decision for them. Because, you know, everybody loves their family and we all want to do what's best for them, but we also want options. So just when I saw the prices of the classified daycare, I was like, I don't know, emotionally moved because I thought that it was really awesome. And I just think that it's amazing that we are providing that opportunity. I don't know anybody else anywhere that does that for that type of, that cost efficiency.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. Mr. Lopez?
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar, members of the board, executive team, and Alex. It's probably the day that you hear your name the most. So, Dr. Sanchez, I was looking at the PowerPoint, and I know we spoke yesterday briefly at Meet Teacher Night at Berry. I'm under the impression that the state visited us today to do the inspection, or did that get delayed because of we're not ready in terms of construction and the pipes and.
Yeah, so we were looking forward to the state licensing department coming today, but because we knew we were having the piping issue, we went ahead and canceled that. And so, like I said, but for that part of the work, we're ready. And so it's just once we can get the construction part of it complete.
Perfect, and thank you. And then the other comment was, I know the prices are really affordable compared to the private sector. You know, the only concern, and this will be for the finance department, is that, you know, if our classified staff, if their kiddos are in school and they use their personal lunchtime to go pick up their children, they'll pick them up from school at 2:30. So by the time they get to the site, you know, potentially the child will only be there from 3 to 5. I'm under the impression that they're still obligated to pay the full cost, which is $50, for example, for classified staff. I understand the price is affordable, but and I know we're getting started right now. We have to cover the costs and everything, but you know, hopefully down the line we can figure out a way on how to do like a prorated, because that's what we use that a lot when we hire people. When people come in, when they come in on you know, throughout the if I'm salary, but I'm only here for the second half of the month, you know, I get a prorated salary. In this case, I think it'll be ideal if we can find a way to support our employees that are only using the daycare after school, because we do have employees here who have their kids in our district. And so, you know, I think it is really affordable, definitely. From what I hear, I have never utilized the daycare, but that's something to consider down the line to see how can we offset the cost for those childs or those kids who are only going to be there for 2 to 3 hours a day. And then I think I had another question, but it totally slipped away. But for now, you know, we can, you know, down the line do a cost assessment for that piece. And then I the other question just came back. Also, you know, this building hadn't been occupied, I believe, for a while with children in the classroom or in the building. So I assume that we have neglected that building. That's why it requires so much work right now to get it up to speed according to the state standards. Now that we have moved some of the 6th graders to some of the K-5s, for example, Desert Sands, and I don't know if they're utilized in the 6th grade center or not, But if we have other campuses that are not utilizing the space for the sixth graders, I do hope that the administration can find a way to keep up to date with maintenance in those facilities, so that when the time comes for us to use those facilities again, or those buildings, we don't have to spend the time or get delayed to be up to code as well with that piece. Those are the only comments that I have and questions. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez, for the work in the department, and I do look forward to attend the ceremony as well and interact with the families and our employees who are benefiting from this. So thank you, and thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Great questions. Ms. Cantu?
Yes, Madam President. Alex, I'm sorry I have not acknowledged you tonight. But thank you, Dr. Sanchez. I think that you have been able to work very hard and use a lot of your energy. You started with the baby over at the preschool with your own department here at district, and now with this one, there's a lot on your plate, and you still smiling. That is great. I love the fact that we have this services or this opportunity for our employees and for our classified. I wish we can have something like that for the community, for the entire community, because that's one of the reasons our students are moving to charter schools, because charter schools are not thinking or planning for daycare. They said, and they bring the kids to their school, and it's for everybody, and even the ones who go to daycare. So that's one of the concerns that we have at Cartwright, that our numbers continue to be decreasing, and we need to start planning. I'm not saying it's going to go under Dr. Sanchez. She has a lot, but it's something that we need to consider in the future. Thank you so much. I think that just the fact that these kids will have all this type of support and have, I read a lot about childhood development, because you know I babysit my little grandson, and as I was reading, I see that you're supposed to be looking at them doing this type of things, 2 and 3 years old, and he's going to be 2 in a week. But he's already doing all those things, and I said, wait a minute, what's going on here? I'm being very, very hard on him, I guess. But he's good. I mean, he's bilingual, and he's doing all these good things. And I really like the fact that this kids is, our employees, our teachers, our classified children are going to be in this high quality care, because it's their first couple of years, 3 years, are so important for their growth and their development. And having all that support, it will impact on those kids. And that's where I'm really bringing this to my heart and said, this is something that we need to offer to our community as well, because they deserve to have the same quality opportunities and education as they start in life. And if Cartwright's thinking ahead, it's the way that we're going to keep students in this district as well. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hall. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. So I, of course, want to say thank you, Dr. Sanchez, because I know you've been working tirelessly and on many things, not just the daycare. So thank you so much. And also to everyone that took part in it, Dr. Osuna, for your leadership, and of course, for also being very fiscally sound and spending all that time, sort of buffing things out and cleaning things and making sure that they were of the utmost quality for our children. And then also, some of the things that are in my lifetime that I've realized are very important to people and can be very stressful at times are money and our children. send our children to school, I know for one, I never have to worry. Because I know that when I drop my child off at school, they're going to be safe and I can go to work and everything's going to be great. I don't have to worry at all. So knowing that our employees are also members of our community definitely helps, because that provides, they're definitely going to know that they're being provided for and that they're going to be safe, and they can then focus even more on their jobs. The financial piece, they don't have to stress as much for daycare. Having looked into daycare and knowing that some of the charter schools do charge for their daycare, they're definitely not, they're definitely charging more than what we are requesting. And I feel like it's a very fair and sound price for our members of the community, our teachers, our principals, and our classifieds. And so we're all very grateful that you work so tirelessly and sort of definitely use your critical thinking skills to be able to maneuver past some of these challenges that you faced. So we're definitely very grateful for that and for the benefit to our Cartwright family and the community as well. So thank you. Any other questions? Oh, hey Dylan.
Hi, that was loud. I just want to say one of the things that this really made me think of it was our classified employees as well. And I want to say what an innovative way to increase staff retention. So I want to thank you for that. And I will echo the same sentiment as Mr. Lopez. I was thinking the same thing that he was saying about classified employees, because there's such a range. But I think this is a wonderful start, and I just truly thank you on behalf of the employees.
Thank you, Mr. Rodella. And Mr. Garwell, would you like to add anything and what your perspective is on our employee daycare?
I think this is going to be a great idea for the community and for you guys. Because right now, for somebody to take care of a kid for a week is like $200 and some plus, and that's going to be great for the teachers, because that's going to take a burden off of them, and that's going to give them more time to concentrate on the kids instead of their kids on how they're going to pay for it.
Thank you for your input, Mr. Garwell. And he's right. I mean, it's definitely going to feel good to know that the people that are caring for your kids are people that you know, and they're part of our family here at Cartwright. So thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez, for the great presentation. Back to Dr. Aguilar.
Madam President, members of the governing board, I would like to share something, because this has come through, made a comment about the charter schools and child care. We did start based on our parent advisory council. They really wanted morning care. They said that it broke their heart when they would drop off their children, and they saw children by themselves waiting outside until teachers could open the doors. And I know that it's still a work in progress, but we do have at every single campus free before school care starting at 7. I just talked to Dr. Weiss from Tarver, and she told me today that they have 125 students in the morning program. So we're going to need probably some more support, Mr. OJ, but we're making it happen. And I, again, want to thank our governing board for allowing us to do these things for our community. So that's a lot of students at 7 in the morning. So that was exciting to hear. You're all smiling over there. So am I hearing there's some students in your programs out there? Good. And I'd like to thank, is Alex Motta here today, and Sonia, and I'd like to thank you for your support on this as well, and especially our principals, because I know these things are not easy to maneuver, so thank you. Work in progress, but I'm so very proud we started. So what I'd like to do now is finally here after I don't know how many years, I'm so excited to bring to you tonight a presentation regarding parent views. I'm going to hand it over to Mahadi.
Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, Dr. Aguilar Lawler, executive team, and Alex Lopez. I would like to call up David Hernandez. He is our new Assistant Director of Supplemental Technology Programs.
and he is going to share with you today Parent View. And like Dr. Aguilar-Lawler said, after years of anticipation, it's finally here. All right, go ahead, Mr. Hernandez.
Good evening, Madam President. There we go. Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, executive team, and Mr. Alex. I'm very excited to share with you this evening Parent View Live. Parent View will officially go live to all of our district families on Monday, August the 12th. Parent View is a secure platform that gives our parents anytime, anywhere, real-time access to their student information in both English and in Spanish. In this day of technology, the school-to-home communication is very important, and Parent View is one of those components that will help. With one login, parents will be able to see all their students' information on their phone, tablet, desktop, or iPad. Our parents can report their child's absence. They can find their child's schedule, grades, school calendar, school events, and they can even email their child's teacher. Teachers will also be able to set up meetings and conferences with the parents. For the parents that have special education students, there'll be an extra tab that includes the most current IEP, next annual review, and the re-evaluation dates. Our parents want access to their child's homework, grades, and teachers. In order to support our parents, there'll be ongoing trainings. Our parents are being informed about Parent View via flyers, emails, and robocalls, again, both in English and in Spanish. On August 12th, there'll be a Parent View training here at the district office to support our parents that need additional assistance. We have a couple of cafecitos scheduled, which you are more than welcome to attend, and I hope you do, with a few more being planned as well. The Family Welcome Center will host a workshop on October 1st. Our district families and parent liaison staff and I will be presenting to them at that time. We are working with the school administrators to do school visits and do teacher trainings. We don't want this to be a one-time thing. I'm going to set up at school events, such as concerts, athletic events, open houses, to inform parents about Parent View. Parent liaisons and the instructional support staff have already gone through the informational training. The Parent View link will be available on the district website beginning Monday. Our goal this year, district-wide, is to get at least 85% of our parents using Parent View by the end of the school year. Currently, we only have 2% of our parents using Parent View. Parent View is an excellent, secure platform which supports our district goals to ensure excellent customer service and expand academic achievement by giving our parents access anytime, anywhere to their students' information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Are there any questions?
Ms. Hernandez.
Thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, executive team. Mr. Hernandez, love your name. I do have a brother named David, by the way. But you got my attention as we went down the list. This is great. I know that even down to we've sent out flyers in the past. But even my daughter picked it up and said, wow. I don't know if it was the color, the deepness of it, but the fact that it's more, not only did I get one, I think we've gotten 3, I don't know those. But I as my son has the chore of getting the mail, puts them there, and they got their attention. So it's working, but what gets my attention here is in many of my walks and getting to know my neighbors in conversations over the last many years that has been a challenge has been the IEP, the special needs area, the follow-up with the IEPs, the working with the parents. So the accessibility, I think, in the communication to me, is a lot. So I'm looking forward to this and see how this, bears out. I mean, we've had all of this taking place. I think, where's, Jeremy talked about the data and the impact, because I think we've implemented throughout the year. I'm gonna say maybe there's, might be some, I mean, this parent view, we haven't had, right? But if I, individualize the different concepts, we've had them. But it's great to have them all at once, it's very impactful. And I'm thinking back and wow, we're doing this, but now it's like you're taking it to another level. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Mr. Lopez?
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar, members of the board executive team, and Alex Lopez. One question is, Mr. Hernandez, is this website also mobile compatible for our families?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a big need that we ensure that it always stays active and that, the mobile aspect of it doesn't crash because, in our community, we still don't have parents with access to either a laptop, all across the board, but we all carry these ones right now that we're glued to them pretty much 24/7. So that's going to be a key component of it. And then secondly is, I know I'm optimistic, but we're sending a flyer out and we're expecting parents here at the boardroom on the 14th. Worst case scenario that we do get a large crowd, I would hope that we can anticipate to either move some parents to conference rooms or potentially use the training center. I know I've been probably very optimistic, and we do have different times, but we don't want this to get parents to make time, show up, and then for us to not be able to handle the amount of parents. Once they made the time either from work or from their daily, activities that they do. So, let's prep for a big turnout, and so we'll keep training as much as we can. And I think this would be a great topic at the Cafecitos to talk to the parents and then help them download the app, and then just like we do with the lunch, menu. If we can get this app out there to our parents the most at any opportunity that we have, I think we will have a successful interaction of the system. Because I assume it's not free, so let's take advantage of this tool that we have, and let's get all of our parents on board with that. I think those were the only questions and comments that I had. I see your calendar, and I will be attending some of these events, and also, if I may, I would also like to attend the Parent Liaison Workshop on October 1st, and some of the other activities as well. So thank you for all you do, and hopefully we'll have a successful launch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lopez. I'm making an assumption here that our parent view is going to work the same as Phoenix Union. It's all pretty much the same. So, Mr. Lopez, just as an FYI, I've had this I'm on my parent view. I have 2 kids in the Phoenix Union High School District, and so I've been tracking them. It's nice, you would not get IEP information or any of the special information on here. But it's never crashed on me, so that's good, because I mostly use it on my mobile, but you can also use it on the computer. The nice functions are that you can tell your child's attendance, because they keep it very up to date, and then also you can email each, like for high schoolers, you can email each individual teacher through the application. Probably for our students, it would be fewer teachers they have to email until we get into middle schools, but it's a really nice application, and it's great to have it finally. And then with the parent view, would the students, maybe I'm going too far with it, but would our students also have student view as well?
Student view will be running also on Monday.
Oh, awesome. So that's a great application as well, because the students can then log in and check their status as well. So it's pretty neat how it works with parent and student view, so they each have the access to the information.
We're pushing on Parent View right now, and then we'll.
Yeah, we don't have to push student view right now, because some of our students are probably pretty young, but the parent view is a great tool, and the fact that it works on your mobile device without issue is great. It does work pretty well, and for parents that, I mean, the thing that I'm kind of thinking about is for any parents that have the kids that are in the Phoenix Union High School District, they'd be kind of familiar, so hopefully that helps with the amount of people that would be coming in. Because if you've got, multiple students and some are in Phoenix Union, you're already pretty comfortable with Parent View. But I think that what we're doing is great, and all of the assistance that we'll be providing is definitely, it's nice to always have supports for our parents to be able to help them through the process. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for the constructive feedback and the work. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Okay, so wrapping up the report summary of current events, moving on to item F, call to the public. And tonight we do have two. So, consideration and possible discussion of comments and complaints from the public. The governing board will not take any legal action on matters raised during this portion of the meeting unless the comments and complaints pertain to items included on the agenda. 3-minute time limit is set and all are asked to adhere to this limit. The governing board may direct staff to study matters raised by the public or to reschedule those matters for future consideration, discussion, and possible action at a later date. So our first call to the public is from Judy Moy, and it is regarding the consideration of release time for the CEA president. And I do apologize, Ms. Moy, that this came after the actual item.
Good evening, Superintendent Aguilar, Waller, and governing board members. Can you hear me?
Will you push the button, Ms. Moy?
It's been a long time since I've been up here. Thank you. Good evening, everybody, governing board members, and Superintendent Aguilar Waller. My call to the public was going to be before your vote tonight, and so the notes that I have are not particularly pertaining to this, but I want to thank you for your vote of confidence for the CEA president to have some release time. I am a continuing CEA member. I stepped out for AA, retired for a very short time. I've been employed by the district since 1980, and I've been a member that long, probably longer than a lot of you know. But I have all the confidence in Mr. Bugelia in supporting CEA and its members and non-members, and his meetings with you. And one of the things, the most important thing I want to say is that I was at the Cartwright conference last week, and to hear CEA mentioned numerous times from the dais, from Waller or Dr. Mrs. Hernandez, whatever, it was heartwarming. We have never had that as a CEA association. And CEA appreciates your support and your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moy. Our second call to the public is from Jose Herrera from the Watts Family Maryville YMCA. And his request to address the board is regarding wanting to introduce himself as the new executive director of the Watts Family Maryville YMCA, and also how we can work together for the benefit of the community.
Thank you. I am new to the community, and also.
Thank you.
Yeah, speak. By the way, that camera adds at least 30 pounds to So I am new to the YMCA and also to Maryville, and I would appreciate partnering with the Cartwright School District. I think there's a lot of things we can do together. You guys, this is my first meeting here, and the fact that you guys are offering daycare to your staff is amazing. And the prices are $50 for the classified staff. That is, you guys should commend whoever thought of the idea. But again, I'm here to introduce myself and hope we can work together. I reached out to your staff, haven't heard from them, but I'm assuming they're super busy. I won't point out who hasn't gotten back to me.
You know who you are.
So thank you guys so much, and like I said, we're offering a lot of programs, and there's things that we can do better for the community, but I need help and I need you guys' input. So hopefully we can connect. If you guys want to tour the facility, I'll give you a free granola bar and a water, and I'll take you around the facility. Thank you.
Thank you. The Watts Family YMCA is on 67th Avenue in Clarendon, correct?
By the corner.
Yes. Thank you. So moving on to item G, the consent agenda, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler.
Thank you, Board President and members of the Governing Board. The administration recommends approval of the consent agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Pedro Lopez, for the motion, and I second that motion to approve the consent agenda as presented at the Cartwright Elementary School District Governing Board meeting of Thursday, August 8th, 2019. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam President. I have just for clarification, for information to our community. I know that a lot of people might not read through the agendas, but I really wanted to give them some input. In items 7, 8, 9, and 10, what is that entitles to our campuses?
Madam President, Board Member Cantu, Board members, community, these are building renewal grants. These are grants that Mark Carvis had applied for and received. These are, as I shared with the board, a while back, Mark had developed a relationship with staff at SFP. And as of today, he has received over $12 million in grant-funded projects through the Cartwright School District. One of our buildings alone, is almost $7 million to roof our K-State Tower. So these are those that just passed recently, and we want the board to take action on them.
Thank you, Mr. Ode. I just, like I said, I just want the community, they might not read through the agenda, but they listen to the videos, and just for them to be informed that our schools are moving into new construction and doing some improvement work for the best interest of our students and actually the best environment that they deserve in order for them to learn. Thank you so much for looking out for our campuses and our students. Thank you, Dr. Lawler. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you to Mark also, because we would have had to find this money elsewhere. And this is money that we are extremely thankful and grateful for his hard work, and the community is going to benefit from this long term.
Thank you so much, Mr. Urgent.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu, for ensuring that everyone understood what that was. It's definitely awesome when we get more money. Thank you, Mark Carvis. Who doesn't want money? So thank you, Ms. Cantu. I really appreciate that. Any other discussion? All right, so seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Awesome, thank you. I vote aye as well. I vote aye as well, and the motion carries to approve the consent agenda as presented. Okay, so moving on to item H, other information and discussion items. And actually, I'm going to pause for one quick second. So I just wanted to take a quick pause. At this portion of the meeting, we are saying our thank yous. It's been great having you here, Alex, for his participation at tonight's meeting, and just to let everyone know that he does have to leave. He's got to go do some things so that he can be back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for school tomorrow. Thank you, Alex. It's been awesome having you. And our first So now moving on to other information and discussion items. Item number 1, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Dr. Aguilar-Lawler.
Madam President, before going into this section, if I may request, and I know I walked in a few minutes after the meeting started, but I wanted to see if we could have just a moment of silence, especially going on to into this topic, but regarding Gilroy, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio, and the recent happenings in events. You may.
Do it now, pause with this.
I'm sorry, but also for Dr. Lawler, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler's mother-in-law and our teacher who lost his life last week as well. Sorry, thank you. Ms. Hernandez.
Board President and members of the governing board. In response to an incident that occurred at one of our schools over the summer, I reached out to district legal counsel for legal advice. As a first step, I would like for the governing board to consider adopting a resolution similar to the one that was adopted by the Alhambra Elementary School District Governing Board approximately 2 years ago when DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, political issues, was receiving significant media attention. The intent of the resolution is to control the investigatory actions of immigration officials and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, agents on school grounds so that students and parents can participate in the educational environment for children free of fear of the ICE agents' threats or intimidation during their investigations. The school should be a safe environment for children, and having a resolution as an added protection for our students' social and emotional being. At the governing board meeting of August 22nd, 2019, the administration will present a draft resolution for the governing board to review and discuss. Thank you for this consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler. Any discussion? Mr. Lopez?
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, members of the team, and executive team and board members. Once we get a draft, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, my concern is sometimes we do resolutions as a symbolic thing, as we have in the past. But my hope is that we can find a way with legal counsel to find some language that we can incorporate into the resolution so that our schools can be either designated as sanctuary schools, just like some cities or sanctuary cities where there are schools. We are the governing board. We are set here to set policy, and so I would hope that we can work hard with legal counsel to find a legal meaning to the resolution so that it's not just symbolic, but we also have some authority as of what we wish to happen in our schools. Because that will be the whole point, of the resolution. It's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that up, to us as a board. And I know that you're going to work extremely hard with legal counsel to find some language, for us. So thank you.
Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Cantu?
Dr. Lawler, I would like to also see what we have in place, because I believe that we had already, and compare, do we add, do we just remove, or we just bring a new one? So based on what we have, what else can we add? And then Mr. Lopez asking for a little bit more. I guess we can see how can we be more proactive on that.
Board Member Lopez, this is Cantu, members of the governing board. Yes, I will bring what we have from the past. I can include it in the board bulletin this Friday, or I can attach it on the August 22nd meeting. It's up to the board's will how you'd like me to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lawler. Thank you, Ms. Cantu. Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, and executive team. I just want to remind us back, take us back a couple of years. We have that similar language that Alhambra adopted, but Cartwright's resolution was stronger language. That was also a resolution that was proposed and adopted at by the National School Board Association and following ours, and it has to do with immigration. So I really would like to visit it. I don't mind enhancing and working with that. I worked in partnership with the ACLU a couple of years back. We also have federal law that doesn't allow that protects, and Flyer versus Dope, trying to remember the right language. But we currently have federal law in place, and I think it's something that we have to continue, like our brochure and our message, to share with our community, more widely. But perhaps I would like to look. I mean, it's not always a done deal. Always like to look at you, see and take the lead, and how much stronger, what more we can do. Within, I don't know if you remember the lively conversation we had with our own district attorney regarding that same language, and how we would impact or interact regarding or implications with our SRO officers in the city of Phoenix. So it involved and touched on a lot of different areas that I'm for it going forward, so I'm interested.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Mr. Lopez?
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar Lawler, members of the team, board members. We saw in the news that in Mississippi, on the first day of school, if I believe that was the right state, parents took their kids to school, and as they were picking them up, there was raids, and so, many of those kids, were left at the school site, and other emergency centers with strangers, and so, I don't know if we have any protocols in place. If that were to happen in our city, I would ask if we can build a protocol. If we were to be raided, what do we do with those kids? Who do we call? Where do we place them? Some type of emergency protocol, along those lines as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Lopez and members of the governing board. All of these, all of the things that you're talking about, that's what I'm hoping that we'll be able to move forward and consider and create the resolution, if that's the board's willing, and also any protocols or plans, because I know that our schools want to know exactly how to respond and do the right thing. So the more that we can put in writing and protocols for our staff to feel safe, to ensure that our kids are safe, I know that they will really appreciate that from our governing board. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Aguilar Lawler. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Hernandez, do you have a comment or a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, executive team. I'd like to take it a little bit further and make a proposal maybe for the appropriate or respective item on the agenda. As we are in current city staff, including our chief of police, because at a previous meeting, I did raise that issue in transition before the current chief came on board and asked if they were willing to support and mirror policy, immigration policy similar to what the city of Tucson has in place right now, that we don't as a city. And amidst a lot of activity going on, we could lead that conversation. It's a forum for discussion and see what might come out of it.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. That's the information I was looking for. I knew there was a city that was doing it. I think it's a great conversation. I'm definitely always willing to embrace bringing in all levels of stakeholders to ensure that our students are safe. And also, I mean, considering that Tucson is doing this, that, you know, they're like the only sanctuary, like full-on sanctuary city in the United States right now. But I wonder if we could even have that, and maybe I'm stepping too far, but, you know, have that conversation with whoever it is at ICE that works on these types of things to ensure how perhaps we had a policy in place that kept that, you know, if ICE was connected, if they needed to do something that had a court order, they could have a contact person that they would then contact the district, because that's the only thing that we do have to do federally is, you know, work with them on court orders that they do have. But other than that, I mean, schools should be safe grounds where everyone can be free to learn and not be stressed out. So definitely including all of our stakeholders and urging them to get on board with some of our other cities and not working. Dylan, do you want to say something? Go ahead, Dylan. Sorry, I'll stop what I'm saying so Dylan can speak. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I do that every time. All I want to say is thank you for being proactive in protecting our children and our students. And in any capacity that the association can partner in making these protocols and making this happen to ensure the safety of our students and their families, that is our interest, and we share that with the board and the district.
Thank you, Dylan. Sorry, Pedro. I also echo what Pedro Lopez was saying. Also trying to create sanctuary cities, and there are some caveats to those types of things, like in our school district. Because of course, while we want to support that, there are always going to be the people that are against it. So some of our actions may have to be a little bit quiet based on some of the things that we've learned over the weekend, Ms. Garcia and I, but definitely on board with sanctuary schools. And I will pass it over to you, Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar, members of the board and executive team. I just wanted to make a brief comment in regards to Mr. Dylan's Nogales' comment as well. You know, for some, I feel like for some in the community or, you know, across the district, this might be a political issue. You know, for us, it's not. You know, we are here to serve and protect our kids, our children, and so, you know, we serve a district with, you know, I assume it's high 80-90% Latino children in our community. So, you know, by all means, you know, this is something that the administration and the board, you know, we're spending the time to talk about it right now. We'll spend time at the next board meeting to address this and find the different measures for us to, you know, ensure the safety of the kids. You know, it's, you know, I totally respect, you know, everyone's point of view, and you know, I hope that all of you and all of our community members can see that, you know, this is a safety issue for us, and, you know, I look forward and engage in a positive conversation, you know, with legal counsel at the next governing board meeting to ensure that we do everything that we can to protect our children. You know, this is not politics. This is the community that we serve. We know what district we are, and I hope that, you know, we can get, you know, everyone, all of our employees on board as well. So I just wanted to, you know, put that out there and look forward with the positive collaboration from our staff. Thank you.
these students are our children, and their safety is the most important thing. I have no doubt that everyone in this room also feels the same way. So I appreciate the additional comments and the feedback from our board. Does anyone else have any input? Ms. Hernandez?
Madam President, fellow board members, executive team, I'd like to propose, I know we're under other information items, and since we've already been through other action items, I think this is going to be the most appropriate, but I propose that we design a community forum and leave it up to the staff to determine when that is most feasible in terms of calendar. But if we could have, I would engage us, I don't know what's best for all, if we need to have further discussion, to either have a study session discussion amongst here in our community, our staff or our parents working towards having that community forum out loud. And it's really a forum, I know in the past, Phoenix Union did it many years ago. We involved, some of our key elected officials to engage in a conversation of thoughts. But really the message as we're talking about it, the message delivered is we're here, this is our community, and we're here for our safety. And how are you feeling, what can we do, and being proactive. But more than anything, I think will resonate with the district that we're here and its leadership is here behind this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
If it would be the will of the board.
So it would be it. Do you want to stand too, or good? I'm sure she would be in the will. So, be it the will of the board. Do you guys want to use like the fist of five consensus? Okay. So be it the will of the board to follow the recommendation of Ms. Lydia Hernandez to create a community forum and study sessions based on obviously the creation of a calendar of these events. All those who are in favor, we'll just do a thumbs up. All right, so we are unanimous in creating a community forum based on calendar. And is the timeline to bring a calendar to the next meeting? With a estimate of projected calendar of meetings and at the August 22nd, 2019 governing board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving on to our board updates. Item number 2. We will start with Ms. Cantu. Sorry, Ms. Cantu.
The last but not least, at the very end, right? Thank you everybody for your presence tonight. Welcome to the new year. I'm sure it will bring new challenges, but that's what we're here for, to become better individuals, better human beings, and better teachers, and overall better at what we do. I don't have much to report. I did a lot of work over the summer, but one thing that I am very proud of myself is that I went on the zip line in Vegas. I wanted to break my fears. Once I was there, it was hell. Believe me. And but I'm scared to the heights. And I said, if I don't do it, somebody's doing it out there, I'm sure, but with a lot more courage. I went up there and I really wanted to come back, but it will take me a lot just to go down the stairs. And I thought, what do I do? So I started doing the best I could do, and I prayed. Closed my eyes. My husband was really concerned. He was right next to me. And he said, are you okay? I said, don't talk to me. It was not that bad. It was not. Now I can tell you that, it's just the fear to encounter those things that gives you nervous. But I wanted as a challenge for me to this new year that, we can do anything we want if we just put our mind to it. Me, almost 60 years old, going down that line, I thought I was going crazy. But it's doable, and you guys can do it. Anybody can do it, especially you that everybody's young and energetic and smart. And so I'm going to leave with that in you. If she was able to get the courage to get up there, I don't know how many stairs were up there, but it's high. You can do it in your classroom, in your office, you can do whatever you want to accomplish. And it's all I'm going to leave for you for the rest of the year. Because it was just a matter of courage. Thank you so much for taking a leap with Cartwright. I know many of you are new, but I welcome you and hope that you do great with new programs. We need new initiatives and all that we need to move forward, focus on the best interests of our students. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. Mr. Lopez?
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler, members of the team, fellow board members. Welcome back to everyone. It has been a hectic week, I think, for some of our schools who, have 35 kiddos in kindergarten per classroom. I've seen it in action. 4 days since I leave my son in kinder, so hopefully the numbers will continue to be steady, and we'll find additional teachers to support. I thought July was going to be a relaxing month, but there was a lot of things to do across the district. A lot of good things happening. As always, if you have any POCs or anything that you would like to share with me and with the board, get a hold of me through email, send a calendar invite, or let Christine and Linda know, our executive assistants. I go where they send me. Short story, at the Cartwright conference, Principal Bond asked me if I was ready for Friday, and I said yes. What am I doing? But I hadn't checked my calendar, so I always let everyone know. I go wherever Christine and Linda send me on my phone, on the calendar. So I had a good Boys Town and PBIS presentation. I look forward to continue the journey since that was my first workshop. So I'll be either attending different schools to continue the process. I did receive my books already for Boys Town, the curriculum, and also Dr. Sanchez is working on a PBIS books for me as well. So I'm really interested in being part of that. I know that what I saw at the training with Mr. Martinez, Kyle Martinez, he did a presentation, and then he asked us to do some sharing as a group and as a classroom. And I started to sweat because that was my first time reading content on Boys Town and PBIS, and I was just so nervous because he only had 45 minutes, and if we say that Latinos we speak fast, man, Kyle was faster than Latinos flying through the information. So at that point I realized that we as board members, we did requested PBIS and Boys Town to be implemented district-wide. And I feel like sometimes we ask for things and we don't really comprehend all the work that goes behind it. And I really, Vice President Garcia and I had the opportunity to go to the training, and it was 2 hours with definitely the learning was so much, but also it was really intensive. And we're adding another thing to our teachers' plate, you know, to go to trainings, to continue to grow. So I'm committed to be part of the process with all of you, as directors, principals, teachers, and staff, because I feel like if we're asking you to do something, we as a board should be able to do the same as well. With that being said, if you have any trainings, any events that you want me to attend, or the board, as always, I have the flexibility and I'm blessed to work from home or just be able to answer messages or emails. So I do have the time to attend. And I do have a few other items to add, but I'll wait for the appropriate agenda item for those. So thank you for being here. Thank you for another great school year. We foresee nothing but success, and we'll continue to work with private partners to bring resources to our families. That will conclude my update. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Lydia Hernandez?
Thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, executive team, and staff. It has been a hectic, I think, all summer for me. And also at a personal level, I'll share that even the issue of immigration, although I've always been a lifelong activist in and around the issue at different levels throughout the many years, it has also impacted my personal life many, many times. So when that happens, and I focus, I go back to where my anger is. And right now, currently, I return to work at a law office we're inundated right now with the asylums cases, and going back and really getting into what that means. That happened before, by the way, the recent happenings, which brings it all the more. I don't know about you, but I believe that things happen for a reason, and things that have recently impacted my family, I think, are here again for a reason. It's not gone away, and I can't rest, at least personally. And just as we were talking, there are several other things that we can tie, and I'm glad that you brought up the policy, our resolution, because, and I will reiterate, when we put it together, ACLU did, although I think Alhambra had taken the lead, and the stronger language had been from Cartwright's language regarding the protection. But while we were talking and discussing this, I was reading up on Playa versus Doe, and why we have that protection. And it was enacted in 1975. It happened with the Texas State Legislature authorized local school districts to be able to deny public enrollment and deny education opportunities for kids. And so we've got a constitution that I love. By the way, I love history and I love our U.S. Constitution because it would really focus. There's protections, guaranteed protections under the law, and the 14th Amendment and those protections for our immigrants, whether they're undocumented or not, exist. I don't care who attorney or what tells you otherwise. We do have those protections, and I think that we are in an opportunity as a school district with this current leadership to be an example of the talent, tenacity, and leadership to lead this conversation that has been, I'm not going to say resting, because it hasn't, but sometimes you get tired when you're taking strides and you're not being effective. So get back on. So thank you for that, and I'm so glad I was able to make this meeting because I was in immigration court and all day long, and got back to the office and had to dash across. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Ms. Garcia?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. So I was asked if I had a restful summer, and I would say not because it was so busy, but it was a wonderful busy. We were able to participate in several activities in the community as well as a few of the schools, so for that I am grateful. And I had mentioned, now that I've become a little bit more Twitter savvy, I was blowing up Twitter because of the amazing conference we had, and so I had put on there, which was really with the nonprofit sector, and Cartwright was one of the top 3 conferences that I've ever attended. It was amazing. Everybody was united. The information was greatly appreciated, and it just gave me more of the strength that I need to move forward with this commitment that we've made to our children, to our students, and to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. So welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. It's exciting to have everybody here again. I only went through a 2-week depression this July because 2 weeks in, we were already back to work. So thank you for shortening that up for me. It's awesome to be back. I always miss everyone when we're in that 1 month, which is July. The dreaded month where we're not doing anything at the school district like this, like board meetings, and it doesn't mean we're not doing anything, because definitely there is a ton of work going on behind the scenes. Some of the things, and I also wanted to say really quickly, thank you so much to Governing Board Member Pedro Lopez for securing those backpacks with school supplies from Verizon. We definitely always have a need for backpacks, regardless of how many we get. There is always a need, and so it's great when our members are able to reach out to partners and obtain some more of those supplies that our kids definitely need. Also to Heather Bray and Craig Corpedal, I see Jeff finally got tired and left because he was here for a long time back there. But that was a great event at Heather Bray, giving out the backpacks and having a Diamondbacks player here and seeing all of the kids and just how impactful it was to them and the families to be able to receive backpacks, back to school supplies. UAC was there, which is a church in the community, providing free bags of food, and they have some good stuff in there. They gave us some because they were like, you have to take them or they're just going to go to waste. So we're like, okay. But they had some great stuff in there. Organic vegetables, lots of amazing things. The kids were excited about the popsicles, except they ran out at some point. I thought there was going to be some kind of fight. But you know what? Everyone was fine with it. All of the kids, you can tell they were very well behaved because there was not a fight for that last popsicle. But it was incredible to see how many people came out. There were so many people out there, so many backpacks. Mr. Horpedal was running around, very much engaged in everything that was happening and making sure that everyone was okay, that everybody had waters that needed them. Incredible event, and the line, I mean, even after the event was over, there were still people and families coming to get backpacks, and nobody was turned away. Everyone was able to just go to the gym and get a backpack so that our kids could have what they needed to be prepared for their beginning school on August 5th, so it was incredible to be a part of that. And then, of course, to all of our community partners for being there. Thank you to Ms. Garcia for being there as well. Sorry. Yeah, we went together. It was nice. The conference was incredible. Seeing everybody so excited about the breakout sessions was cool. We actually ran into one of the first-year counselors, and she was asking us, so do I need to sign up? Should I have signed up for these beforehand? And, you know, what am I supposed to do? And she didn't know who we were, so we were just like, no, it's a conference, and you just pick your breakout session and you go there. And so it was really nice to be able to interact with some of our new staff and help them, and how excited she was that she was coming into the Cartwright district and experiencing this amazing conference. And for being the first time, it was incredible having everybody there at the same time. And you know what? I just want to shout out really quick to our GL Downs for the video. Because I love the arts, I love STEAM. And it was, yes, because you know how many times I've replayed that video? I have showed everyone the video because I absolutely love it. Right? Because that was one of our ideas, was to have a video. So it was awesome to start the conference that way and just see everyone at Glenelg Downs just having a good time. It was awesome. Got me really excited to start the conference. So thank you for doing that. It's exciting to see you guys having some fun and, you know, working with it. So it was great. You know what, just welcome back. You guys do a great job. And thank you for everything that you do. And I'm excited for the school year. I see that everyone's been having a great time on the first day. I love that you guys are all, like Ms. Garcia said, out there tweeting and showing us what's going on. Sometimes that's the only way in those times that we can see what's happening. So it's incredible to see how excited everybody is with their students and back to school. So just keep up the amazing work. If anyone else wants to make a video, please feel free. It's incredible. And then also, I wanted to say thank you to Ms. Garcia and Emma Heide for going with me to the Walmart event to sort through, it was really humid, but we were invited to go to a Walmart event to sort through school supplies on a mass level and stuff backpacks with the Arizona Cardinals and some other legislators and school board members. And I just want to say thank you to the ladies for being such a great support, and that we emptied our giant pallet-sized bin before anybody else, because I'm really proud of that. We had a system, and that just kind of shows what Cartwright is about. When we're out there, we're doing, like Mr. Lopez said, whatever we ask you to do, we're going to do it too. We don't expect you to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves. And so we had a great time sorting those supplies. So if you ever need help sorting things, just know we're really good at it. Oh, and painting. I don't know if you guys heard, but we like to go out and help paint bathrooms and beautify your schools. So please take us up on the offers. If you have students come to the meetings and ask us, we are even more likely to show up. I don't know if you guys knew that that was a really special trick, but if kids come and ask us, we are definitely going. We love to be at your schools. We love to help. So definitely feel free to reach out to your board whenever you need something done. We are happy to come out and do it. And we get real excited when we can, raise the bar and meet those challenges. So I'm excited for the school year. I am glad that everyone is back, and I hope that you all enjoyed the conference. Definitely looking forward to feedback from that to see if we continue it into our, the years ahead. But I just really appreciate all that everybody does, and so thank you. And also for everyone being on board with our social and emotional learning and some of the things that we're doing this year. I really appreciate everyone's support. Without all of you, we couldn't make it possible, so thank you. Mr. Rodella for being here and for also providing your input today, and Dr. Romito as well. You supported my son for 3 years, so I really appreciate that. With everyone's help here at Cartwright, my son the older one obviously doesn't care, but my middle son, he's definitely doing great things over at Maryville and the Gifted and Talented, and without that foundation from Cartwright, I don't know that he would be able to really excel as much as he has. So thank you. Welcome back. All right, moving on. Thank you. That will conclude my update, and Ms. Garcia has something else to say. Go ahead, Ms. Garcia.
Yes, forgive me. I did want to share a couple more things. After attending the social emotional conference recently, I did bring back a few bits of curriculum and activities. I'm not sure, are there any social workers or counselors in this room tonight? Psychologists? No? Okay. So what I did was I brought some curriculum for small groups, and I had tried to have this conversation. I've actually had this conversation with a few counselors. And so I was told that there might not be time during the day when the small groups are actually ready for to start meeting and the counselors or social workers begin to facilitate these small groups. So the question is, will there be time during the day? And so as my wheels were turning, I started thinking, well, we don't want to interrupt the students during study time, during school time. However, I started thinking that perhaps once a week, and this is just food for thought, during their lunchtime, so that their instructional time is uninterrupted, that there will be time for small groups. And so with that being said, I have material here that I'd like to pass over because it's great stuff. And secondly, and finally, I had a quote that I had shared before with everyone, and I thought that it was most appropriate to share at the beginning of this new year, because this is who we are. So this is a quote, and it says, part of what is needed for public servants, that would be us, is a public sense of what Madison meant by wisdom and good character. Balanced perception and integrity. Integrity means wholeness in public and private life, consisting of habits of justice, temperance, courage, compassion, honesty, fortitude, and disdain for self-pity. So I would ask that all of you continue to trust this board to do the right thing every day. And this will conclude my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Mr. Lopez, and then Ms. Cantu.
I got to meet you sooner, Ms. Cantu. Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Alex Lawler, members of the board. I did forget to share something in my update related to the conference. So, great conference. Had a great opportunity to talk to all of our, well, a lot of our employees. I saw high school friends that are working in the schools, which is awesome, and they've never told me. And I was like, you know, you should have said something. And they're like, no, it's okay. Anyways, long story short, two things. I will not mention the names because I don't want the staff to let the employees know something. But it was throughout the conference, I saw people like pointing at me and like at some of the board members. And I'm like, why are they pointing at us so much? Well, I realized that by that time, our pictures had been up in the schools. And I had requested that to be up there, just because Phoenix Union, they do have it. And I do think that our community and our employees and our parents should see who the governing board is, just because we shop at the same stores, you know, some of us take our kids to the same schools. So to me, it's really important for them to make a connection with, you know, probably the elected official who, for the most part, at every event, we matter the least. We are never mentioned, which is totally okay. We know what we say not for. But nevertheless, it's important for them to know who we are so that if they have any input, any comments or feedbacks, they can just let us know. A couple of custodians from a couple of schools were youngsters, millennials, and they were like, hey bro, like, you're the guy from the picture. And I was like, yeah, like, how are you? I'm Pedro, I'm sitting on the board, what do you do? So, you know, we had a good time. I was able to talk to, you know, custodians and classroom support specialists and interventionists. So it was a good opportunity to interact with staff and just, you know, we're human, we're normal. Yes, we sit up here. Yes, we have to put on a suit at times. But nevertheless, we are just like them. We live in the same community. So I'm really thankful for the opportunity of all of you principals who were willing to have Dr. Lawler and the board, you know, on your wall. So thank you for that. I think it's important for the community to know who their governing board is. So quick, you know, it was a quick, you know, good story. You know, a lot of the people there where everybody was just so amazing. And also here, you know, we have new janitors as well. And when they see us, they feel like they see a celebrity, but I'm like, hey, we're just like you. You know, we have a job as well. We come here, this is our second job. We don't get paid, but you do. So, nevertheless, a great conference. So, now that will conclude my update.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. I appreciate you sharing all of that information. Because yes, you can catch some of us at the grocery store rolling out just straight out of it. But please feel free to approach us. Ms. Cantu.
Just two things. I did give the picture to people send me pictures that I don't know you were here. I don't know what you do. So I'm not that important. But they did send me pictures, and one of the things that I wanted to share with you is that as I had the opportunity to visit the aquarium in Seattle, Washington. By the way, the weather was beautiful. And as we were walking out of the aquarium, I had so much fun with the kids watching the fishes. They have real sharks there. So there was a quote on the wall, and I took a picture of it because I thought that this was something that it was important for us as a team. And it says that together we can create a way for change. And I like it so much because we can
you, everybody. That was the best updates. Okay, so moving on to item 3. All I can hear is the Old Town Road going in my head. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. That's how great it was. All right, so moving on to item 3, the request for future agenda items as information discussion at a future governing board meeting. Does anyone? Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. You gotta beat us to the punch for the mic. Thank you, Madam.
Ladies first, Mr.
Madam President, thank you for the board members, Mr. Abdu, executive team. A couple of requests. Some follow-up with the YMCA to find a way to build a partnership with them as we have with MRC. Getting legal counsel at the next board meeting to discuss a resolution, and perhaps we'll have to start with that so that we don't have to pay for a lot of hours of legal counsel here waiting on the audience. And potentially, if needed, to go to executive session for that, if it's needed. Seeing the issue with some of the schools, just to name a few, I know that Holiday Park, Cartwright Elementary, and C.W. Harris, and probably a few others, when we designed the schools, or when the schools were designed, we didn't really think of the pickup and the parking flow. Principal Angular, I know you, Director, and I know you dealt with that for so many years, but we have to find a way to alleviate traffic. Today I showed up towards the last 5 minutes because I know it takes me 30 minutes to get out of that school. But if I get there at 2:20, at 2:10, I'm already on 67th Avenue, parking on the street. I know Cartwright has the same issue of vehicles parking on the avenue. C.W. Harris is also a mess in terms of the pickup. I don't know how Jonathan Long is doing, but we do have a lot of schools that have the same issue. Cartwright had the issue, and I happened to say something about it when my son was there in 2013, and somehow the situation got fixed the following year. So who knows, But we do have a lot of schools that need it, and all of my schools are favorites. I don't have a special school. So I do want to start looking into the possibility of fixing all of those issues. I know it would require a lot of money, probably $300,000 to $400,000 for school. I would say it costed us about a similar amount to do another exit here behind district office and Tarver. So I know Mr. De Oro, we had a conversation about it, and he's going to the sites to do evaluations. I don't know if Mr. OJ has a mail or two to pay for this. However, we do have the opportunity to go for a bond election next year. So if we can look into the possibility of potentially going for a bond election, that would help us rebuild some of the schools, because we already modified the marquees. So if we can fix this issue of parking, we can increase the student safety, we can increase community and parent satisfaction, we can beautify the schools, and ultimately we can increase in student enrollment. So I just listed 4 reasons to do it, and I don't see a reason why not to do it. So I know it's very, very expensive, I assume, to do it district-wide, but we have to fix this problem eventually. So I don't know, the election is going to be next year in November, so I know we most likely do qualify for a bond. Let's figure out how do we best utilize, or if we have other needs, then let's take care of those needs. But this will fix 4 issues that we have in our community, and I think it ties down to the student safety overall, and how can we put a price to that. And lastly, Dr. Aguilar Lawler, I know you've been on the job for over 100 days already so far as the superintendent. I would ask if you can provide the board, with a executive summary of Ms. Hernandez said almost like the State of the Union, but give us an update of what are our weaknesses and strengths as a district, and if you can be very candid and if you can provide a report, should be at least for now board privilege for us to have an idea of what do we need to do as our new superintendent. You know, what positives do you see, and then where do you think we need to focus our time for the next couple of years with you. It's, you know, we don't need it right away, but I think ideally by the end of the year will be ideal to have something that perhaps we can discuss in executive session or can be streamed through our board docs as an executive content. As of now, privilege to the board so that we can discuss and see, you know what's ahead of us. And I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. I know that the drop-off and pickup, most of the pickup, is definitely an issue, not just for us, but other districts as well. I know Phoenix Union definitely has some, I don't know what it is with schools, that we just have like the smallest parking. I mean, obviously, because we need to educate our kids, so we need classrooms. But I have noticed that it's an issue amongst a lot of schools, not just in our district, but others. So I think it's great that we're looking towards creating a safer environment. And it can be very dangerous to get through those pickup and drop-off times, or drop-off and pickup times, because I just did it over at Phoenix L, and it was not good. I mean, I made it safely, but it was terrible. And I definitely been looking at Cartwright for a number of years and how they're so on the street, they're on that actual public access, a heavily utilized street. So it's great that you have brought that up for further action and discussion. Any other requests, Ms. Cantu?
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, executive team, Dr. Lawler. I don't know what is the timelines for the state releases the state standards for the schools, and I would like to see that the timelines for them to release him, but that's something that I would like to see. Mr. Lopez just mentioned that he would like to know where we're standing in order to move on. I think that just the results of the testing will help us move forward and see where our weaknesses due to the fact that we identified the schools that are not performing. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. Mr. Hernandez?
I just wanted, we were having our discussion and Mr. Lopez just responding to some of your comments regarding the parking lot situations. There's a reason for it. Some of the schools where parents park along the side roads because of the police. We've had local friendly neighborhood cops or bicycle police officers in this area that would go to work and would park across the street and right in front of the school. So for many years that was an issue. Hospitality, Glen Downs. So it's kind of, you learn to park along the side if you don't want to be in the purview of the police officers. I'm sure there's a lot more that I can say about the topic, but in terms of priority, instead of parents dropping off their kids. But that still resonates here, especially with everything that's going on. I just ask everybody, it's mindful when we have our SRO officers and vehicles, and I do see them as a public. We work in partnership, but at the same time, depending on the story, on the family story of what's going on, and I'm going to tell you, we have many families whose parents have been picked up over the last few months and over the summer. So, thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Ms. Hernandez. Any other requests? Yes. Ms. Garcia?
Thank you, Dr. Lawler, executive team, fellow board members. There is a special agent from DEA that would like to present to us because we have a drug epidemic here in our community. Okay, so he is wanting to present to us on the 22nd. So if it be the will of the board, I would encourage the invitation. She is also offering to do a presentation for us as well as an assembly for our students. So that would be one thing that I'd like to pursue for future agenda items. Along with, we had previously, actually this is addressing the allegations that was made with President Hernandez several months ago. And because that incident cost the district money for legal representation, if it be the will of the board, I am curious to know what the status is on that. As well as, okay, now on another note, the activities director, now that school has begun, wondering what the vision is and how he is going to be including the schools and the students for field trips and what kind of activities does he have in mind, or will he be looking forward to raise funds so that our students will be able to attend field trips as well as going to the library, which I think would be great for them. And finally, Ms. Line-Killer, I hate to put you on the spot, I'm so sorry, so please forgive me. But because we've been so diligent with social emotional learning, I know we have PBIS as well in Boys Town, but I would love to hear what you have to say. I don't know, I know that you've had a lot of training, and I'd like, if it be the will of the board, I would love to hear a presentation on what you know and how we will be able to incorporate your knowledge and your experience with PBIS as well as Boys Town. So if it be the will of the board, I would beseech thee to approve this. Thank you. Yes, I think specifically what exactly you have, the knowledge that you have, that we could be able to look at and see where this would fit in, where you are actually providing these resources to the schools, to the students. What does that look like? I mentioned earlier about groups. I'd love to see our social workers and counselors provide small groups to our kids, and little breakout groups on a weekly basis, if that could become a reality. But in addition to the knowledge that you have, if you could share that, I'd really appreciate it. And I didn't mean to corner you today during our committee meeting, so I thought, okay, I'll just wait. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Mr. Lopez?
Sorry, one last request. Thank you, Madam President. Dr. Aguilar Lawler, members of the board and executive team. I spoke to Dr. Lawler earlier about it, but I think if we could make an official request to see if we can seek a position of recruitment for the district-wide. I know we hire a firm to do it, and we involve our parent liaisons to do it, but we don't have somebody that is actively recruiting students and parents to come to our district. I assume that position could potentially be a teacher salary, and if you divide the students needed to pay for that salary itself, you're looking at 9 enrollments for the whole year. And I believe that if we hire the right person, somebody with community organizing skills and background and community relations, that person can stage at community markets, at fairs, at different places. And I'm positive that that person would be able to bring at least 10 kids per month, not in a whole year. So if we can explore the avenue of finding the resources and the money to pay for that, create a job description and push it out as fast as we can, so that we can do recruitment ongoing and not react to our low numbers at the end of the school year and try to come up with numbers over the summer. So if we can find a way to do that, I think it'll benefit our district as well. And this will be my last report.
to advertise what we're providing here as a public school, but I do think that it is very necessary, and I feel like the position that Mr. Lopez is requesting, in my mind, seems like it would save us some of those advertisement dollars. So thank you for the request, Mr. Lopez. And then something that I wanted to ask is if we were aware of the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Families. They're currently accepting the application for the Arizona State Opioid Response Grant Program are now being accepted, which kind of goes along with what the board is, the tone of the board, and what we're discussing this evening. So there's more than $1.2 million that can be awarded to programs throughout the state of Arizona that have the capacity to support the full implementation of the Arizona RX drug toolkit in our communities. The grant has a maximum annual award of $150,000 per grantee, and it's renewable for up to 2 years. So, and the application process closes at 5 p.m. on September 18th, 2019. But it would be great to see if, our district wants to apply for a grant. We have some great grant writers here that I know. But it would also help us to kind of implement that into our community, and it helps with, those over-the-counter prescriptions that parents get, and I as a parent have my own. So I think it would be great if we could bring that into our community and kind of help with some of the funding for the things that we'd like to do and provide to our students in the community. And that is my only request. Ms. Garcia?
Yes, thank you. I was just thinking about during our committee meeting this afternoon, we touched briefly on SROs. And is there a way we can encourage all of our principals to apply for those grants? I know we can't twist their arms, but I would highly encourage that so that we can all be on the same page, provide the same information for our students, and literally work on a safe and caring environment, have them visible, as well as having them participate with the SEL training so that, presence is everything. So I'll leave that up to you on that side. Thank you so much. No pressure. Thank you.
So how would you look at it's about 11, is all of them the way the board was kind of
Since we have so many requests this evening, I would request, Dr. Liller, that you bring them to the next meeting, and then we prioritize in order what level of priority the requests are. I'd like to think that the grant for the governor's grant would be a priority if it's the will of the board, since it closes on September 18th, to direct staff to kind of work on that and look into it. Ms. Cantu?
Yes, Madam President, I have a question for Dr. Lawler. I believe we had a company doing the
enrollment?
The enrollment, yes. I heard Mr. Lopez saying that he now created a position for somebody to do it. I would like to see what's happening with that company before we move, and what was the result before we move to the next step.
Yeah, Board Member Cantu, I will add that to the board member request, the rationale behind a district one. We do have a company, but it's not on the agenda tonight, so I'll put it on there as a request along with the enrollment.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. I appreciate that. Ms. Hernandez?
Madam President, fellow board members, executive team, staff is listening. Several great things have come out. I'm just going to leave you with this. I'll remind you that we had a couple years ago, and I think Mr. Lopez was, I don't know if you were still on the board or about, you were still on, but we had a consultant, an individual that came in, did an assessment on the Family Resource Center. on the parent liaison and actually developed a plan that would eventually would be led by either a director or a staff person that would have that community organizing experience, and others. Doesn't have to be necessarily that, but the skills necessary. He's a nationwide, Alex Sanchez. He comes from Colorado. He's been in Colorado, Austin School District, Miami-Dade, doing bicultural family, and it involves PR, community development, to do it exactly. It's a conglomerate, not just what we mentioned here is a couple of, a few things of what is possible. And so if we could look back and possibly, engage that assessment that's been done. Okay.
In fact, if it's the will of the board, I can send that on the board bulletin this Friday.
In that direction.
Okay, so just, let's vote on one, the request that Ms. Hernandez just made to get that one moving. If it's the will of the board, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler will have it sent out on the board update for Friday to get one of those down, done. Anything else? We'll just do a thumbs up. That way we can get it on our board bulletin.
And instead of creating something else, I think we could incorporate the conversation of the assessment as to what happens, what worked, what didn't work, leading us into what's the work that's already been done, because I think that was a great skeleton.
Awesome. That is one item down of many.
Madam
President. Mr. Lopez.
And just to clarify, thank you, Madam President, Dr. Aguilar-Lawler. Out of my requests, I think out of the many that I've made, the only one that I think is really extremely important right now is the resolution with legal counsel, because that's an immediate thing that we can do. The other items, we have time, and that would take months, to develop. The bond will be a year and a half away. Yeah, but at least for my request, the only thing that I think is, of relevance, for all of us as a board is the legal counsel and the resolution, and then all of the others, they can wait from whenever the board decides to move forward with those.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
I would need to know, the other thing that's pressing is Vice President Garcia's request to have DEA presentation at the 22nd August board meeting. I need to know if that's the will of the board, so I can have that one as well.
Just a suggestion that if wherever, however we label it or put it on the agenda, if we be proactive and put it into drug issues instead of DEA, federal agency, we're talking immigration, what's going on, but enforcement. Just be mindful.
Okay, so we'll vote on that. We'll just do a consensus list of 5 if we would like to move forward with the request to have a Drug Enforcement Association person here to agent to come out and present. We want our kids to be drug free. Thank you. So that motion passes, and on H22, that request can be fulfilled. So then the other items we can bring to our August 22nd, 2019 governing board meeting, and we can determine at that time what level of priority. I do feel like our wish list item of making our drop-off and pickup times is pretty pressing, but we can prioritize this on the 22nd. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is what happens. Any other requests? All right, very active this evening. Thank you so much. Everyone's been great. Definitely appreciate my board and everything that we do together, and the collaboration has been awesome. I look forward to the next meeting, and so that will conclude our future requests. So moving on to item I, announcement of future meeting date and other routine information concerning the governing board. The next regular governing board meeting will be held on Thursday, August 22nd, 2019 at 5 p.m. at the Cartwright School District boardroom. So moving on to item J, I move that we adjourn the Cartwright Elementary School District governing board meeting of Thursday, August 8th, 2019. Do I have a second?
I second with discussion.
All right, we have a second with discussion. Mr. Lopez?
As always, you are free to leave whenever you have to go. We do appreciate you staying this long, but you do not have to stay this long. So thank you for that.
All right, so motion by myself, second by Mr. Lopez, and all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. Let the record reflect. The board meeting has ended, adjourned at 8:54 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Not that I was